450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Will.
And Mark.
Will Coley joining us from Muslims for Liberty, Muslims, the number 4liberty.org, the fundraiser, which we'll get an update on here in a little bit. It's getting close to its matching goal, which is very exciting. We'll let you know about what's going on with that and what it's all about. Maybe you're brand new to the show and you have no idea what fundraiser we're talking about. We'll tell you about that coming up here in moments. And Mark, you've got a story in relation to the big news of the week so far, this mad shooter in Vegas on, what was it, Sunday night, I think it was, where this killer, alleged killer, who has now allegedly killed himself, had shot apparently 59 or so people to death, and another several hundred, like 500, were injured. I don't know if that means they were all shot or like trampled or both or what, but
right, it's got 58 people dead, over 500 wounded. Yep.
Yeah, pretty serious mass killing. In fact, the most mass killing of all of American history, if you exclude government killings from the list.
Those would be important, yeah.
So, who is this guy? I mean, has
he's
anybody...
writing for The Intercept. I've never heard of Sean King. Maybe I have. Maybe I recognize.
No, I mean the killer.
Sean King's super Black Lives Matter guide.
Okay,
like everything is about race to Sean King.
This certainly is.
He's a white guy. He's white, and he's what's her name? The chick from the NCAA who's white and pretends to be that got fired. Sean King is a guy.
Donzel.
Yeah, Sean King is a guy that somehow has become accepted for being a not real black guy, but because he
doesn't look like a real black guy to me.
No, he's not black. He represents himself as black and then makes a race issue of literally everything.
Well, I don't know what he represents himself as, and nor do I particularly care. I believe that if somebody wishes to represent, I don't care if you want to represent yourself as the Lollipop King. It doesn't matter to me. However, your reasoning is really important to me.
I'm a purple pansexual penguin from Peru.
At least you're alliterative. Going on, Sean here from The Intercept. And mind you, I like The Intercept.
Yeah, they do great reporting.
But it's been knocked down a peg in my mind from this.
Okay.
So he goes on. He basically talks about this guy, 64-year-old Stephen Paddock of Mesquite, Nevada.
The alleged killer.
Yep. 30. Well, yeah. He's not going to get a trial, Ian.
No, he's not.
So he's the killer. All right? You could just go ahead and drop alleged.
Well, okay.
32 floors above the Mandalay Bay
Hasn't been
Hotel.
proven yet, but there's a good chance that
it's not going to be.
Yeah.
It's never going to be proven because there's not going to be a trial.
That's true.
He's the killer.
I mean, they could prove it by showing video of him
that wouldn't
shooting
be proof,
people.
Would it?
Sure it would. If you got video of him shooting out a window,
they're not going to have a
that's
trial.
Proof.
All right. I don't know.
But they had that video. You heard that he's got cameras that he's set up, right?
Yeah, I think the word alleged comes from it's got a word that sounds like legal in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he will never legally be proven as the killer. So I'm not sure that the term
You mean that he won't be
is
found
appropriate.
guilty by a jury?
That's correct.
But there still is a possibility you could prove he was the killer, right? By like showing the video of him doing the killing.
The facts as they are presented at this point is that he had like a dozen guns and thousands of rounds on the 32nd floor, and he shot himself to death.
It was probably him.
It seems pretty damning to me.
But we don't really have any proof yet.
He says,
that's all.
Sean says, no expensive wall along the Mexican border would have prevented this. No Muslim ban stopping immigrants and refugees from randomly selected countries from reaching our shores. It wasn't randomly selected countries, mind you.
I heard, speaking of things that wouldn't have stopped this, I heard some reporter on the news this morning when I was getting up, just incredulously asking an agent from the ATF, why didn't you know about this? Why didn't you know this man had bought 33 guns in the last year or something like that? I think there was a tremendous dozens of guns that he had purchased in just the last 12 months or so. And the ATF's agent's response was, well, we're not obligated. The Congress hasn't passed a law that forces us to do these things, so it's not our job. as though if they had known that he had purchased 33 guns, that would have done anything at all. What would they have done? Sent an agent out and been like, "Sir, did you buy these guns?"
Waco. That's what happens when the ATF finds out that you've bought more guns than what they want you to have. Waco.
Is
that's
that what happened
happens
there?
Yeah,
Well,
that's what happened with Waco, Texas.
I thought he had some guns they wasn't supposed to have.
Right. I believe at least one of these weapons was a full auto saw.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he had a lot of guns. Sure, he had a bump fire rifle.
Yep.
But clearly this guy intended to do harm.
Yeah.
And
he planned this out.
Vegas might be the best place in America to get a full auto rifle. You're pretty close to the border.
How do you get a saw rifle into a big name Vegas casino and then all the way to the 32nd? I mean,
these are good questions.
We've been to Vegas. You and I have we've been to events together in Vegas.
But we brought cases into Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, I've brought big suitcases type things into Vegas, and nobody asks me, "Hey, can I go through your sound equipment to make sure there's not a saw in there?"
How big is a saw? I'm not familiar with this gun.
It's a good
substantial.
Okay, this is what do they call that? A support,
support fire.
Yeah, support fire, portable machine gun. These things, 300 rounds. They're laying down lead,
They're not meant to be shoulder fire.
Oh, one of those. The M249 squad automatic weapon.
They're meant to be shoulder. Not shoulder fire. They're sort of rest on your hip.
Yeah. They're not meant to be fired like a regular gun. Most people fire them from the prone position, laying on the ground.
Yeah, they got
with them on a tripod. Yeah.
If your squad's moving, you got to support your squad.
But a person my size wouldn't be able to hip fire a saw gun. It's as big, it weighs almost as much as I do.
Gun.
Okay, well, what I know about it is from video games, but the guys in the video games are darn sure carrying the darn thing.
Yeah.
So if you've got more information than I got, you're certainly welcome to call in with it.
There's a reason why Animal Mother is the one that carries one in Full Metal Jacket and not Joker. Okay.
The length of the saw, according to Wikipedia, is only 40 inches. I mean, so it's not like he would have to carry it in parts or anything like that. Just put it in a case and walk it in the hotel.
Yeah.
There's thousands of people walking in that door every single hour.
I think it is possible to get this kind of equipment up up without any problem.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
If you had this, say, in a van, and you're a local, so you're parked in the parking garage, then you go down, you get some stuff, you come up, you deliver the stuff. You go down, you get some stuff, you come up, you deliver the stuff. If you've got all day, yeah, absolutely. You can get dozens of rifles into a hotel room with thousands of rounds of ammo.
How long was he checked into the hotel?
I don't have that information. Yeah. It's not in this story, and I haven't seen that information.
I suspect he was there for longer than a day, but
it could be.
Who knows?
That he has plenty of time to do it. Yeah. I'm sure they'll be watching the video now, but they're not looking for that stuff. They're looking for somebody who's cheating at blackjack.
Right. I mean, you got people coming in and out of this hotel all day long with big pieces of luggage. I mean, it's not going to look unusual.
They're effectively malls. I mean, these things are huge, and you could come in different doors. Not that I think you necessarily would need to. I'm pretty sure I could unload a U-Haul's worth of rifles prior to this incident into a hotel room through the same door on the same day.
Also, it's
without
not
receiving
illegal.
One talking to.
If they're your legal guns, unless the hotel has a prohibition on guns, then it's not a violation of the hotel's rules to bring your guns into your hotel room. I mean, how many times do people go to gun conventions out in Vegas?
I don't know that you're. Are you allowed to carry a firearm in a casino hotel in Vegas?
I couldn't answer, but if you're carrying it in a case,
well, if you're not in the casino part of the hotel,
you got to walk through the casino to get to the hotel.
You have to walk through most of the big hotel casinos like that. You have to walk through the casino to get to your room.
But they have these gun conventions, so you'd have to be able to have a gun at least some. I mean,
I presume they have gun conventions in Las Vegas.
I can't
Nevada
imagine
is one of the more gun-friendly states, isn't it?
Yes,
it is. Yeah.
One of the selling points of Vegas is you can go there and shoot a fully automatic weapon.
There you go.
At one of their places. Like they've got these places. I've never done it because it just doesn't seem exciting to me particularly.
It's expensive too.
It sounds expensive, yeah.
All right, we're going to come back with your calls and thoughts. They're welcome. Our toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. Plus, you can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM.
Book Club Radio.
Today we're chatting with Mike Papantonio, leading trial lawyer and prolific author. His latest novel, Law and Vengeance, is a non-stop, action-packed legal thriller. We spoke with him about the book and the real-life issues that inform and inspire his writing.
So what happened with Law and Vengeance was we had a case that came in that we actually handled for a couple of years, where we had a weapons manufacturer that had created a defective gun sight. But they sold a ton of them to the military and to police organizations all over the country. There is a good side and a bad side where it comes to the way that corporate America operates, and that somewhere in there we have regulators and we have government entities that are making sure they play by the rules, but most of the time they aren't playing by the rules, and we don't have the Department of Justice forcing them to play by the rules.
On the heels of the critically acclaimed legal thriller Law and Disorder comes Law and Vengeance, the latest novel from famed trial attorney Mike Papantonio. Law and Vengeance follows the law firm of Bergman Dichotomus, who is now in the crosshairs of a weapons manufacturer. But this is not a law firm that plays by all the rules. Based on a real case, Law and Vengeance, the riveting new legal thriller by Mike Papantonio, is available wherever books are sold.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to is probably so swamped with applicants that he or she is tough to reach. So call early in the day, before 8 a.m., before the palace guards arrive. You'll need your prospect's direct number, and here's a sneaky way to get it. Suppose the company's main number is 555-5000. You should call 555-5012. When someone says, "Good morning, Pam Johnson," you should innocently say, "Oops, somebody here must have written this down wrong. I was calling for Tom Frederick. What's his direct number?" If the very next thing you hear isn't Pam giving you Tom's number, it may be, "Good morning, Tom Frederick." For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us here on the radio waves. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. Also, do want to let you know about Dash. It is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people like you manage your own wealth. It's fast, can be private and easy. Fees are low. Transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. Phones are loaded up for a weeknight episode of Free Talk Live. People want to talk about the shooter in Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino in Vegas. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. I know, Mark, you were this Intercept article you have was driving at some sort of racial point, and hopefully we'll get around to that, but people want to talk about guns and hotels and shooters, so let's go to the phones, to your calls and thoughts. First up, Neil is in Golden Shores listening to K-Talks in Arizona. Hello, Neil.
Yeah, guys, you were talking about how would he get them in there. The regular Colt manufactured M16 fully automatic machine gun, you can break that down into pieces small enough that you could fit into the average woman's overnight bag. I mean, and it doesn't take any tools to take it apart or put it back together. Everything just snaps apart and snaps back together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a possibility, but I don't think there'd be any problem with him just carrying guns in cases. I mean, I don't think that would raise any suspicion whatsoever.
Actually, I do.
Really?
I'm looking at the policies for the Mandalay Bay Hotel right now.
Mm-hmm.
It says right here, rule number 5, weapons of any type, guns, knives, nightsticks, mace, pepper spray, stun guns, etc., are strictly prohibited on Mandalay Bay property.
Whoops, I violated that rule.
Federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies may carry weapons on Mandalay property in the performance of their official duties. These agencies must contact Mandalay Bay Security Management, however, prior to arriving on the property. So having guns in that hotel is a violation of that hotel's policies.
Okay.
So that would have been something security would have been like...
They could have picked up on it.
You're not supposed to have that here. At the
Assuming
very
they'd
least.
walked through with a,
Assuming...
It's not a criminal offense, but it is a violation of the property's rules, and the security specifically would be watching for people that have those things.
Well, right. It presumes that they were watching for people, and also presumes the security would be willing to come up to a hotel guest and demand to see inside a case. I mean, because there's no guarantee what's in that case, right? Like, could be a guitar or something like that, right? Like,
but people are outraged that somebody was able to get this many guns and that many bullets up to a hotel room.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to say, I don't think that it is reasonable to presume that an individual, security, human beings were acting as security, would be able to ferret this out with all the people that walk in and out of the Mandalay Bay on a regular basis, throughout a day, that this guy just wouldn't be, that a 64, 68-year-old white guy at 6'1" tall is just, with a suitcase in his hand, is just not going to be interesting.
It wouldn't be that hard to do, guys, especially since suitcases are on wheels these days. He could have had 200 pounds of ammo pulling it on wheels, and you wouldn't have been able to tell what he had.
Yeah. Right. You're not going through x-rays. Hey, thanks for the call, Neil. I appreciate your info tonight. The toll-free number.
It could just as easily be a soundboard with a bunch of propaganda equipment in it. You know how I know? Because that's what I do on a regular basis when I go to Vegas.
Well, our cases aren't as long as
it doesn't have to be a full... The man just told you.
Yeah, you can break the guns down.
Many of these guns break down.
But I suspect that even if he walked in with a case, it probably wouldn't have set off any,
Yeah,
right.
Well, you saw that huge case I had in Vegas last year. That thing was big enough you could fit 2 children in it.
Right. I mean, and the
I know my kids get in it all the time.
As long as you didn't have a case that looked like, glaringly like, this is a rifle.
Right.
Then you're going to be just fine.
Right, because the hotel security is going to err on the side of leaving a guest alone, right?
Yeah.
Unless the guest walks in, like you're saying, with an obvious gun in the open, maybe open carrying or strapped to his back or something like that, that's going to attract attention. But otherwise, hotels want to make sure their guests are happy, so they're not going to come and hassle somebody just because he has a suspicious-looking case.
Have you ever seen the...
About 32 suspicious-looking cases, though. I mean,
but
how many
you wouldn't
trips
carry him
did
at
it
once.
take?
Right,
how many trips did it take?
It doesn't matter because he's ordinary looking.
Yeah. Sure. He looks like he belongs there.
The bag that like you
My
carry.
wife couldn't carry all those cases into a hotel though.
No, but she dresses like a
Muslim lady. Yeah. They just stopped her after the fourth suitcase. What do you got in there? What are you doing?
The cases that you carry, the old cases that you carry rifles in, that they're soft-sided. They look like a long triangle. They just sort of say, "I'm a gun." And those things would likely have been seen. But when you're talking about these sort of elongated suitcases that now rifles come in, figure that out.
Let's go to Ken. He's in Arizona, also listening to K-Talks. Hey, Ken.
Hi. I spent 30 years in the casinos, the most interesting of which were in Winnemucca, Nevada. And every year around in the fall, around hunting season, the place would fill up from people from all over the country would come there to go hunting. In the Winnemucca, Elko area, the casinos in Elko were the same way. And doctors and lawyers would fly in on their private planes. They would bring all their long guns with them and their shotguns and sidearms.
Anything they can to listen to Bing Crosby.
Now, what was the hotel policy where you'd worked about guns? Did they allow them?
Yeah, the lobby was full of people checking their guns in at the hotel desk. They checked their guns in there, and then they went to their rooms. They could take their guns to their rooms if they wanted to, but they checked them at the desk because it was more secure.
Okay, interesting.
The real reason they came there wasn't for the hunting, though. We had 5 brothels in town, not far from the casinos.
Okay.
And that was the reason that they'd come to the tables and ask us which ones were the best ones to go to, and we would tell them, and then the brothel operators would come back and give us some money later on.
That sounds pretty sweet.
They preferred, if you were going to carry in the casino, to carry it concealed. We had one poker dealer that used to carry concealed all the time, and I don't even know if it was legal, but that was what he did, and he was worked there longer than I was old at the time, and he was a real old timer. But if you were going to carry in the casinos, they preferred that you carried them concealed.
Yeah, I think
even if
most people just are sort of put out when they see an open carried sidearm. It's a little more common up here in New Hampshire and maybe out in Arizona, but
I've had compliments when I do it in New Hampshire. Hey, thanks, Ken, for the call tonight. I appreciate your expertise on that and experience. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. You can bring up anything you want, whether it's about the horrific shooting over the weekend, the shooter himself. Maybe you've got some more information that we don't have. You're welcome to share it with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. More on this opinion piece coming up as well from The Intercept. And you can bring up anything you want. Plus, if we get a chance, we'll talk about the latest out of Spain and secession.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available, comfortable interiors, and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
Free Talk Live.
My law proposes this. You cannot say how a movie ends before it has gone through its HBO run. This is punishable by death because I am so sick and tired of people spoiling movies for me that I think we should hang them.
Maybe like movies is a capital crime and books is like a ticket.
Violation.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. Misdemeanor for a book. I'm with that. I'll let you slide on that one. Okay.
I don't actually have
so movie.
But on Netflix, they just put them all out there all at once, so it encourages more binge watching.
Right.
And it's just a kind of a different way to release things. So how do you deal with that with your proposed law, Dan?
Look, I'm American. I don't think about laws before I propose them.
So wait, So we gotta pass it to find out what's in it. Let the Supreme Court interpret it.
Exactly.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free to bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian,
Will,
and Mark.
And we're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. Coming up here, folks definitely want to talk about the shooting in Vegas, and we got more to say about that as well on the way on Free Talk Live.
You know what people who've just had a burglary or armed home invasion wish that they'd done? They wish they'd installed a security system with cameras. And you can prevent yourself wishing that you had done that. You can be the wise individual if something like that happens, or maybe you can prevent it with a Blink home security system. It is got to be the most simple system out there to use. I got it delivered right to my door, downloaded the app, it walked me right through the easy setup. I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, and I can check it when I want to on my phone. So, I mean, I can turn on any one of these cameras right now if that's what I wanted to do. And we've got a great deal for you. You can get 3 Blink cams, that's more than I got, for what the other guys charge for one, plus an extra 10% off. You can, by the way, buy more cams if you have like some giant abode or something like that. But you can get an extra 10% off of everything by simply going to blinkprotect.com/FTL. /FTL is going to save you that 10%. blinkprotect.com/FTL. And this is the kind of thing you can be kicking yourself about later, or you can plan ahead. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
All right, we're going back to your calls and thoughts. Amp Lines, where Venkman is on the line in Phoenix. Go ahead, Venkman.
Good evening, gentlemen. I was just calling regarding obviously the Vegas shooting and the hotel's response. So this may have changed, but it's my understanding that they were originally able to identify what room the gentleman was in based on the smoke that was generated from the gun.
I bet it was quite a bit. It's got to be substantial.
Yeah. So certainly. But I wonder, I think Hollywood has kind of made us believe that casinos are these big organizations with heavy security. They'll break your kneecaps kind of thing. I feel like this particular incident was kind of interesting to see the casino's response, or what I would say maybe a lack of response. When the police, they always say police, when minutes count, when seconds count, they're minutes away. Mm-hmm. And that was certainly the case here. And my understanding is the gentleman stopped firing and ultimately ended his life because of the first security guard that had approached the room. I believe he was shot, actually. I don't know if he was deceased or not. But I just wonder if the casino had the complete capability to, have whatever arsenal was required to defend their property and their clients, what would the situation have been like? Would it have been shut down much sooner? I feel like maybe their hands were a little bit tied and they were completely reliant on the government forces to take care of everything.
I'm not sure that they are. I think that it, correct me if I'm wrong here, but since guns are legal, Mandalay Bay could arm their security force, and they do have security forces. I mean, these places have them. They could arm their security forces quite well. They could train a little elite squad of mall cops, and then they, could have taken this out on their own if that's what they wanted to do. But they're like 90%, 85% of Americans who are like, the public school's good enough, and we got to pay for it anyway, so we might as well just rely on that.
You mean the police in this case?
Right. In this, the police are the public security option. Yeah. We know that they're not that they aren't as reliable as private security, because private security works for you. They're also liable for work that they do for you. So if they do something poorly, then their insurance company has to cough up. Whereas police over and over again have been shown that they don't have to do that, and that has results in the marketplace and whatever it might be. And I mean, people know what the government the public option results in. We can see what happens with public school. The worst grade at the worst school in a given geographic area is almost inevitably the government school, or a school that receives government funding.
I would certainly agree. And the only thing I would challenge you with that on, Mark, is do you think the casino has the ability to have the weapons of their choosing, the same exact weapons that the police and the military have? I would guess the answer is probably no, but in fairness, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you can't have the 3-shot, because if you sent your best elite squad in there, in all likelihood, they're not going to want automatic weapons. They're going to want a 3-round burst, right? Brup, brup. That's what they're going to look for. But, you can do darned well with a simple, semi-automatic rifle. A small crew of well-trained guys with semi-automatic rifles is going to take out a squad of dudes with fully automatic rifles that aren't well-trained.
Right. Completely agree.
In this case,
gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thanks for the call, Binkman. In this case, I did hear on the news today that he had ostensibly set up multiple cams in the room and outside of the room. So apparently he allegedly had a feed that was running, because we were wondering, why couldn't somebody just sneak up behind him? Well, apparently he had like a cam, like I don't know if it was a GoPro or whatever it was, Blink Home Security or something like that.
I sincerely hope not.
Had it on like a drink cart or some sort of cart that was outside of the room. So he was monitoring the hallway to see if when the security or police would try to approach. And as the caller pointed out, he might have actually opened fire on one of them, but then ultimately ended his own life, apparently, is what we have been told. And there are pictures that have hit the internet that show his remains. So you can share your thoughts. Your calls are welcome. Here our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. Let's go to Patrick. He's a cop in Bullhead City, Arizona. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, guys, I can tell you exactly how he brought everything in.
All right.
If the guy was spending that much money, he was considered a whale. The concierge know before he gets there. They make the reservations, arrangements, and everything else. He came right through. They loaded up everything on one of those big carts and brought it up to his room. No questions, no nothing, because they were after his money.
You think they helped him? You think the hotel staff?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think he'd have the cojones to do it.
Why not?
Security. I could tell you exactly. I've worked in the field long enough, and I've actually worked in casino security. The only thing they're concerned about is protecting their money downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the situations of rooms, a fire alarm goes off, you were smoking in your room, we're going to, you're going to have to stop that, you set off our alarm, whatever. But the fact is that most of these casinos don't run with as much security as you would think. They really don't. And the sad part is they're more interested. I guarantee it, there were more police down watching the cage than anything else, or more security downstairs, or walking up in hard count or soft count, wherever they store there. They were more interested in protecting that at that time. That is their main job. And I'm certain that that one officer or that one security guard that got shot, he probably didn't follow his boss's direction and thought that he'd just go up there and, find out because he was concerned, which is sad because technically it's sad because he was trying to do the right thing. But,
I'd say good deed goes unpunished.
And if this, like I say, guys, think this is Vegas, okay? I live right next to Clark County. I mean, we're on the border. We're on the edge of the bridge that comes over to Arizona.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you right now, from my experience, without breaking protocol, I can tell you right now that night they were concerned about the floor because of the concert out front, bringing in business and drunks. And when they got caught so far off guard that I wonder how long that fire alarm was going off before they really responded.
Patrick, thank you for the expertise tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Patrick's saying that he thinks hotel security or the bellhop or whoever actually helped them up to the room with the cases. So, kind of backing up what I was saying, they want to be good for the customers. They want to help their customers out. They don't want to be suspicious towards what they're bringing in. There's more coming up here. Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown. Not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Do you trust our economy? How about our banking system? Our president has stated we are sitting on a bubble right now, and that when the Fed raises interest rates, bad things are going to happen. Well, the Fed is raising rates here and now. There has never been a better time to turn your IRA or 401k into physical gold or silver with GSI Exchange. Call 833-GSI-GOLD. GSI Exchange can make this happen fast, and it's money you control, not the big banks. 833-GSI-GOLD. Ask about our bank failure survival guide and learn how your qualified IRA transfer can get you $1,500 in free physical gold or silver delivered right to your home. GSI Exchange has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Call GSI Exchange at 833-GSI-GOLD. That's 833-474-4653. Or visit us on the web at gsi.gold.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it. Wait now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
unbelievable. Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for? You're being served. What is this? You're being served. What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here. Bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype at Skype username lrn.fm. And, Mark, we're doing a walk for cancer thing.
Right.
Tell me about that.
All you have to do is go to walk.freetalklive.com, sign up to support us. We're walking for St. Jude, which is a children's cancer research hospital. If you're not familiar with it, if you are familiar with it, yep, we're walking for St. Jude. And it is a great organization. Very happy to have this opportunity. It was set up by a listener who is matching, I believe, every donation that goes through walk.freetalklive.com. And just, we're going to make that 5K walk. You, me, Daryl, and my family. It's going to be a nice time. And I'm glad to support St. Jude because I'm grateful my child is healthy. I feel terrible for those families who have to deal with childhood cancer, and St. Jude makes it so they don't have to pay a penny. Walk.freetalklive.com.
Let's go to your calls, and then Will's going to update us on some breaking news or something you just learned about the shooter, which you may very well be interested, listener, in knowing about. But first, Dave Ridley is on the line with us on Skype. Hello, Dave.
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey there.
I have a update for you. I guess there's a kind of a bump in activity in New Hampshire in the North Country, which people have been wanting to sort of get active in for a long time, but it finally seems to be happening.
Well, tell me about the activity, because I haven't heard anything about it.
Well, you're familiar with Gilletta Jarvis? I think you know her. She's the Libertarian candidate for governor.
That's correct.
In 2018, yep.
She has posted a message indicating that there is a business under attack in the North. I guess it sounded like it was created by a Free Stater. And when I heard about this, I thought it was a certain business that I'd already been sort of familiar with, but it was actually a different one. So apparently there are two in Berlin, and I guess she's requesting assistance in creating a video to sort of present the business in a positive light because it was the target of some negative publicity. However, I'm not real clear on. I couldn't find the negative publicity, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there. But it sounds, she's got a flurry of responses, and it sounds like something's going to happen up there.
So some of the responses I saw to this are from people in the North Country who have responded to say they are not willing to help this person because this person who, not Gilletta, but the person she's been posting on behalf of, that this person has ostensibly burned all kinds of bridges up there and that there's a reason why that person is under attack.
Now, is this the same? There was a different person you were talking about a couple of weeks ago in the North Country who was running a store that was under attack. Is this a completely different group under attack? Or
as I understand it, this is a different group, because what you're referring to was the old Free Stater-run gas station, which accepted Bitcoin for gasoline and other products and had all kinds of libertarian propaganda on the walls up there. That gentleman has closed his gas station, and it is up for sale after the state came down pretty hard on him, pretty relentlessly, and he just wasn't able to keep the fight going. Apparently there was some, I guess, difficulties that he'd had also with some of the people living up in the North Country, so they weren't helping him, and he never asked.
Maybe they just don't want to help anybody there.
He just didn't ask anybody else for help outside of the North Country and ended up just closing his business. This, I believe, is a different person, and I even read something claiming that this person may not be a Free State Project participant, but may be using that label in I don't know what all the details are, but it sounds dramatic. It sounds like people not getting along with one another, and that may be why this person has asked for help from outside of the North Country, because he or she may have burned all of their bridges there. That's the impression that I got. So I wouldn't really call this any action. This sounds like drama to me.
Right.
This is the third business we're talking about in the North Country by liberty activists.
The third business?
There's another one that I haven't even brought up yet, and I don't think they're in any trouble. But
yeah, there's a vape shop up there that's run by Free Staters as well, and they seem to be doing fine.
Geez, I think there's also like a bar or a tavern or something. There's all kinds of stuff going on up there that we're not.
Yeah, unfortunately, the North Country, like most of the rest of the state of New Hampshire, is there are activists there who are doing things ostensibly, but nobody publicizes it. So if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to see it or hear it, did it actually make a noise? Unfortunately, one of the biggest critiques that I've had of this movement here is that nobody wants to talk about the activism they're doing publicly, and so we only get to promote, you and I, Dave, who are two of the only people who are doing relatively regular reports out of New Hampshire. We can only report what makes noise, and if people aren't making noise about their activism, then it's not to say it's not happening. It is happening, but they want it to be a secret. So it's frustrating. Because there's a lot of good stuff happening.
I love the North Country. I mean,
it's beautiful.
Our experience up there this summer with some of the activists. I mean, we got basically. I mean, you heard. We basically got stranded here. We got ripped off by a venue runner. I mean, we had a lot of really bad experiences from non-Free Staters, and then the efforts of local Free Staters and the welcoming and the great hospitality and all that kind of stuff is part of what inspired us to go ahead and make this move this year. Was the just amazing experience we got hanging out with Liberty folks up there in Berlin specifically.
Berlin,
whatever.
Berlin.
Everything in New Hampshire, and probably this applies to everything in New England, you put the emphasis on that first syllable.
So just like Croatian. Yeah, but it's really good to have you here, Will, by the way.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have him here. So I don't know. I don't know enough about this new situation that you're describing, Dave, to really say anything specific about it. All of the chatter on this subject has seemed to have left, or at least what I've read, which hasn't been everything because I don't spend a whole lot of time reading Facebook posts these days, but the chatter that I did read, everybody was sort of talking around naming the business and naming the person in question. So like there was all this chatter about whether this person's a bad person or not, and nobody's even saying who or where or what.
Yeah. We could always run, I've got errands that could be run in the Berlin area, so we could always just go up there and check it out ourselves.
That was the exact experience I had from reading. I was getting stuff by Messenger, and Gilletta, I think, was the one who did name the company eventually, and she called it, I think it was called Dirty Girl Company or something like that, which might explain why it's under attack, but I couldn't find anything about it on the internet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wish the North Country and the rest of the state would do more to self-promote the stuff that's happening there, because people outside of New Hampshire need to know what's happening. They need to know what activism is going on. If a business is being attacked, that should have been in the news when it was happening, not later on after it's been halfway destroyed or whatever it is that's causing this desperate post asking for help. Unfortunately, every time I ask people to report on stuff for their area, they show some level of interest, but then they don't actually follow through and do anything about it. So even though I've got bloggers at freekeen.com in Manchester and on the Seacoast, right now only Derek J is the only one who's posting from the Seacoast, and he's formerly from Keene. So finding people who are in the rest of the state who are willing to actually talk about what's going on is very, very, very difficult. It's frustrating. So it leaves it to you and I, Dave, and we can't handle reporting on everything.
Oh, there are a couple guys next to you that are doing it too. But it's a 20/80 rule.
Mark's not reporting on stuff going on in the Seacoast and Manchester. I mean, I'm talking about people living in.
Mark?
I'm talking about people.
There?
I am. I don't do that.
I'm talking about people living in those areas who can report better.
Please start.
All right, Dave, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. There was a free Grafton blog for a while, and it's gone. There was a free Manch blog for a while, then it went away, then it came back, then it went away again, and now it's gone for good. The whole site is unregistered at this point. I mean, I wish there was something else I could point to. Shire Liberty News is a thing, and it has existed, and it has done some reporting across the state. It still does exist.
Is that Sandy's operation?
It was Sandy's. She handed it over, I believe, to Carla Garrick, who took it over this summer and has done a couple of posts there. So Shire Liberty News, to some extent, exists, but it's not updated frequently. I couldn't tell you, any headlines from it recently that have enlightened people as to what's going on in New Hampshire. But it's the only other place that exists besides freekeen.com. I mean, I wish we didn't have a centralized resource, but unfortunately, that's about all there is.
All we would really need is somebody who was willing to do just sort of, basic diary-level journaling. But I think that sort of the high level of reporting that comes out of freekeen.com might scare people off from doing something like that.
That's no excuse. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's just either people aren't interested or they're too lazy. I don't know. Or they're just too busy doing other things, and nobody has picked up that role of, hey, I want to report on all this cool stuff happening, because it is happening.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,254. Antiwar.com reports election officials in Iraqi Kurdistan have announced that they intend to hold both presidential and parliamentary votes for the region on November 1st, aiming to bolster the government after last week's referendum on secession from Iraq. Iraqi Kurdistan voted overwhelmingly in favor of secession with over 92% yes votes on heavy turnout. Iraqi officials have vowed to bring the Kurds back under their control and have been supported by Turkey and Iran in possible military actions against them. Iraq has already closed Kurdistan's airports and is in the process of seizing their border crossings. The Iraqi Central Bank announced new financial sanctions on Tuesday, including a full stop of all foreign currency transfers into Kurdish banks. As far as the elections go, President Barzani is a real question mark as Kurdish law restricts him from 2 terms in office, and he's already on his 3rd term, extending it because of the war against the Islamic State. Given the overwhelming support for secession, it's safe to say that's a winning issue virtually all major Kurdish politicians will be emphasizing. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports every single Yahoo email account, more than 3 billion of them, were affected by a data breach in 2013. The information was released by Verizon Communications, which bought Yahoo for $4.48 billion earlier this year. The disclosure comes less than a year after Yahoo announced that a data breach affected approximately 1 billion accounts. This time, however, the company is saying that every single Yahoo email address fell victim to the data breach, and the New York Times reported that hackers obtained names, birth dates, phone numbers, passwords, security questions, and backup email addresses used to reset passwords. But Oath, the Verizon Communications subsidiary that owns Yahoo, said in a statement that the hackers did not gain access to the user's financial information. The statement reads, "The investigation indicates that the user account information that was stolen did not include passwords in clear text, payment card data, or bank account information." In a separate statement, Yahoo said it did take steps to rectify the data breach after it occurred. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Supreme Court justices clashed on Tuesday over whether courts should curb the long-standing U.S. political practice of drawing electoral maps to entrench one party in power, with conservative Judge Anthony Kennedy likely to cast the deciding vote. The 9 justices heard an hour of arguments in the major voting rights case out of Wisconsin involving the practice known as partisan gerrymandering. Their ruling, due by June, could have an impact on U.S. elections for decades by setting standards for when electoral districts are laid out with such extreme partisan aim that they deprive voters of their constitutional rights. Kennedy, who sometimes sides with the court's liberal justices in big rulings, did not definitively tip his hand on how he would rule, but posed tough questions to Wisconsin lawyers that signaled his aversion to the electoral districts drawn to give one party a lopsided advantage in elections. Gerrymandering, a practice that began 2 centuries ago, involves manipulating boundaries of legislative districts to benefit one party and diminish another. Democratic and Republican critics argue that gerrymandering is becoming more extreme because it can now be guided by precise voter data and map-making technology, distorting the democratic process by letting politicians choose their voters rather than the other way around. Kennedy pressed Aaron Murphy, a lawyer for Wisconsin State Senate, on whether it would be unconstitutional for a state law to contain explicit provisions favoring one party over another. Murphy conceded it would be. A federal 3-judge panel ruled 2-1 last November that Wisconsin's redistricting plan violated the Constitution's First Amendment right to freedom of expression and association and the 14th Amendment guarantee of equal protection under the law because of the extent to which it marginalized Democratic voters. Wisconsin appealed the ruling to the Supreme Court. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Sea anemones are the most disgusting of all tidal creatures. Their thick tentacle arms are engorged with the collected urine that makes up much of tide pools. Whale urine, fish urine, otter urine, crab urine, all sucked up by the moon and deposited in these natural outhouses. Clownfish share a symbiotic relationship with sea anemones. The clownfish cleans the sea anemone. In exchange, the anemone sprays urine on the face of the clownfish. It's one fetishistic delight. Contrary to popular belief, sea urchins are not in fact animals. Indeed, they are not alive at all. They are simply the clumped-together leavings of the ocean's denizens.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Bring up anything you want. Our toll free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Man, this is one of those nights where there's so much to talk about. It's frustrating because I know we're not going to get to most of it, but headline right from the front page at freetalklive.com. And thanks to our listeners for going there and submitting content, because that's what we do on the front page of the site. It's a Reddit-based site. You can submit whatever you want. We look at it. We talk about it possibly on the air. Headline, the 21st edition of Fraser Institute's annual Economic Freedom of the World has been published. And guess where the United States ended up?
Sliding down?
30th. It is going down the list. This time falling a couple spots from 11th place to... Oh, wait, no, excuse me. It actually went up. It went up from 13th place to 11th place.
Good.
So there you go. It's finally turning around.
Based on what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's based. What they do is they get their.
This is 2015, so it's a couple years old as far as the data is concerned.
Yeah, they just take the criteria that they have. They sort of rate states. They do it pretty unbiasedly, from what I've been able to tell. And the U.S. isn't in the top 10 on any world freedom chart anywhere.
Nope.
It's quite high in gun violence, but not very good on freedom.
Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Switzerland, Ireland, those are your top 5.
Yep.
All right, so we can tell you more about that coming up here. But we actually never, in the first hour of the show, by the way, Ian, Will, and Mark in the studio here as we launch into the second hour. In the first hour, Mark, you had just barely started an opinion piece from The Intercept. Now, The Intercept is known for Glenn Greenwald, who is one of the kind of the most renowned journalists in the world today, because he helped break the Edward Snowden story, and he went off from, I think, working at The Guardian to this news site, The Intercept, that started within the last couple of years. And they're sort of known for in-depth reporting, where they're breaking news that nobody else is breaking. But this sounds like an opinion piece. It's about white privilege in regards to the shooter in
Somehow
Vegas.
the shooter, this has to do with white privilege, and I'm just amazed by this. I'm just going to jump in because basically the first few paragraphs were essentially explaining what happened in Las Vegas. If you don't know, try listening to the news.
People shot to death, lots of them.
Yeah. Paddock, like the majority of mass shooters in this country, was a white American. I don't know if he identified that way or not, but we'll just go ahead and presume that's the case. Okay. And that simple fact changes absolutely everything about the way this horrible moment gets discussed in the media and the national discourse. Whiteness somehow protects men from being labeled terrorists. The privilege here is that the ultimate conclusion about shootings committed by people from commonly non-white groups often leads to determinations about the corrosive or destructive nature of the group itself. When the individual claiming to be Muslim commits a horrible act, many on the right will tell us Islam is the problem. Will, you have a pretty interesting opportunity to make a comment here at some point because you are both white and Muslim.
I think he's full of crap.
Yeah, I think he's full of crap myself. We'll go on. For centuries, when an act of violence has been committed by an African American, racist tropes follow, and eventually the criminalization and dehumanization of an entire ethnic group. Now, I don't know of any situation where, since the Washington, D.C. snipers, where black people did something like this. Something, sort of mass shooting wise, right?
Mm-hmm. What about San Bernardino? Wasn't that guy black?
No, that
but
guy
he was Muslim, so that changes.
Was he black? I thought he was just Arab.
I think he was Egyptian or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Washington D.C. shooter was Muslim too.
How about the cop shoot?
One of them was.
Chris Dorner?
Yeah, Dorner, the cop that
He's
shot
not a
people.
mass killer. He was just a guy that was on the run.
He killed a lot of cops.
Yeah.
He did kill some people.
Okay.
Pour it out for heroes.
I never heard anything about him that said anything about black people are bad. Never heard one thing about that. So,
all right. God, I hope Sean King is listening to this. And if Sean isn't, maybe Linda Sarsauer or any of you other gigantic,
You know who this guy is.
Yeah, I know who he is. He's like America's top race baiter right now.
Okay.
Here's the way it works, guys. He's half right. You see, if a libertarian or a conservative had committed this crime, then MSNBC, Headline News, CNN, ABC, NBC, basically every channel but Fox would be screaming terrorism right now.
We don't know yet.
So basically what he's saying is half true, but he's leaving one word out because of the fact that that word is his main audience, and it's white liberal privilege. Because he's a white liberal, we can't call him a terrorist.
Hold on. Is he a liberal? Because I've heard.
I don't know.
You were the one who told me that he was a Bernie guy, but I haven't seen that corroborated.
Every story I've seen has said that he's a supporter of the left. His bright pink pro-NASA T-shirt pictures and stuff like that kind of give that impression.
He used to work for the IRS. That much has come out.
Yeah, so you can't call a white liberal a terrorist. But if he was a conservative, had he been a conservative or a libertarian, Sean King himself would be calling him a terrorist, and so would every left-wing media outlet on the face of the earth. The only media outlet that would not be calling him a terrorist would be Breitbart, Fox News, and a Drudge Report. The rest of them would be calling him a terrorist. So white conservative commits an act of violence, terrorist. Muslim commits an act of violence, terrorist. White liberal commits an act of violence, mental disorder. Because how many of these people, you got the one guy who was a liberal who shot up the Kathy what's her face, the politician.
Yeah,
then you had the other liberal who shot up a movie theater. None of that's terrorism, and we don't call it terrorism, and they're all liberals.
Well, we shouldn't call it terrorism because those people are unhinged. The problem with this guy is I don't know what his ideology was, and I don't know what motivating factor it was.
According to InfoWars, Paddock's family insists that he had no strong political or religious inclinations.
Well, at this point, but they didn't know what anything about him or why he was going, insane or whatever. So.
Well, we did just. So one of the things we haven't mentioned on the air yet, as far as why he went insane, Will, you just saw a headline about how he has been revealed to have been prescribed some sort of anti-anxiety medication.
Yes,
is that right?
He was, according to the New York Post, he was prescribed Diazepam, which in layman's terms, that's Valium. So, I mean, that doesn't really make sense to me. If he was on Paxil or Prozac or one of these other totally mind and brain chemistry altering substances, that would make sense. But it's just it's Valium. Valium's like housewife medicine. It's what stressed out housewives take.
So I would contend that the premise with this guy's stuff is completely flawed. I have some sympathy for your point of view on this, Will, but if somebody kills for an ideology, that person's a terrorist. Timothy McVeigh, who killed because he believed the government was too big or whatever, he's basically some kind of ultra-right guy. He was a terrorist. And I think that also another factor perhaps with terrorism is that you probably should have another person sort of along for the ride, but maybe I'm wrong. You're not a lone wolf as a terrorist, but maybe.
According to this story here that the ReviewJournal.com has out in Las Vegas about the diazepam prescription, it describes it as a sedative hypnotic drug in the class of drugs known as benzodiazepines, which studies have shown can trigger aggressive behavior. Chronic use or abuse of sedatives such as diazepam can also trigger psychotic experiences, according to drugabuse.com. According to Dr. Mel Pohl, the chief medical officer of the Vegas Recovery Center, quote, if somebody has an underlying aggression problem and you sedate them with that drug, they can become aggressive, he said. It can disinhibit and underlying emotional state. It's much like what happens when you give alcohol to some people. They become aggressive instead of going to sleep.
You said it's a
benzodiazepam.
That makes sense to me as far as that's concerned.
Or benzodiazepines.
I've actually taken cyclobenzaprine, which is from
related?
the same. I can't take it because it causes me to become violent.
Really?
Like I took it once, and I never took it again because I became like the Incredible Hulk throwing cinder blocks across the road and turned into like an insane monster, and was like, Doc, I never want to take these again.
We'll talk more about it coming up here. You can share your thoughts as well. Plus, we can get more of this opinion from this guy at The Intercept. You can bring up anything you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.LRN.FM. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.LRN.FM. You like your friends, and you like LRN.FM, or you wouldn't be listening. So like your friends enough to share something you like with them. Please share that you're listening to LRN.FM on your favorite social networking site.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try. Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial on in toll free, bring up whatever you want. Our number, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Will,
and Mark.
Now you can mine Bitcoin over at pool.bitcoin.com. You've thought about Bitcoin mining, maybe you've looked into it, and it's just too confusing. There's too much you need to know, too technical. You're not to that level? Well, that's okay. Now you can let the pros handle all of the hard stuff, like the equipment upgrades that are ongoing, the maintenance that never ends. You got computers running 24 hours a day. Something's going to break. Eventually, you don't want to have to deal with those hassles. So Mark and I have both gone to pool.bitcoin.com and gotten signed up there. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website's super easy to use. You use their calculator, which is built in there, that will help you understand what you could possibly make based on what you're willing to invest. So go and get started over at pool.bitcoin.com. Again, that's pool.bitcoin.com. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. We were talking about the news that the Vegas shooter has been found to have been on a prescription medication. According to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, it's diazepam, which they say is part of the benzodiazepine drug family and can trigger aggressive behavior. Chronic use of sedatives such as diazepam can trigger psychotic experiences. Dr. Mel Pohl says if someone has an underlying aggression problem and you sedate them with that drug, they can become aggressive. Let's go to Barry in Virginia Beach, listening to us via iHeartRadio. Barry, how are you tuned into us on iHeartRadio?
I'm sorry?
You're listening via iHeartRadio. Just curious to know what station you're listening to there.
Oh, your station.
Oh, all right. I didn't know we had live streaming available there.
LRN.
Okay, great.
That's what I'm on.
Cool. I had no idea LRN was being carried on iHeartRadio, so I appreciate it.
Thanks to Clear Channel.
Anyway,
man, this is great. This is great.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was, I took that medication for about 7 or 8 months. If I'm not mistaken, it's one of those that require a couple of weeks before it actually gets into your system correctly to start to change your brain. I got off all those medications, but that particular one, to me, can take a normal, nice, happy-go-lucky person who's just depressed and turn them into, a monster. It happened to me, and like I say, I don't take anything because...
What happened to you? I mean, I understand that, you took the medication, but did you... What were the...
I didn't...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't end up hurting myself or anyone.
Good.
But, yeah, it made me real violent. I tore my apartment up because I couldn't find my keys. But I mean, smashed the sink, broke the toilet. I got kicked out for that.
And
were the keys in the toilet?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's uncalled for.
They were actually outside on my porch.
And you feel like this is, this was not your typical mode of behavior, that you could tell that you were behaving differently on diazepam?
Oh, yes, sir. Most definitely. I had never experienced anything quite so just where you just want to break and tear things up.
Wow. And this was prescribed to you for what reason originally?
Depression.
I just don't understand. I mean, why people would go through this.
Mine's a really complex organ, Ian.
Yeah.
It's it works differently for different people. And
how long did it take you to figure out you don't want to be on this stuff?
No, like I say, I was on it for about 7 months.
Okay.
And I guess after the third or fourth month, I felt destructive at work. I felt destructive pretty much everywhere. I wonder what the supermarket would do if I just smashed this whole rack.
My
Yeah,
God.
just asking yourself questions. Yeah.
Yeah,
that is scary stuff. Now, what did it take to get off of it? Was it something that you had to wean yourself off of, or were you able to quit it cold turkey?
Well, the doctors, I was told it's also dangerous to just
quit.
straight up cold turkey.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about these things.
So they weaned me off of that stuff with Librium, which is more of that you could feel right away. Like a Valium or, one of those type pills.
Are you feeling better now that you're off the diazepam?
Yeah, I'm struggling with the homelessness stuff out here. I took I only get for disability a quarter of what I was earning.
Yeah, it's got to be
back
tough.
when I was working.
Well, at least you're not hurting anybody or feeling like it. Hey, Barry, thanks for sharing your story with us tonight. I appreciate.
Listen,
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you guys,
Thanks,
man.
brother.
I love listening, and I'm not a part of the Shire, but I keep up with it.
That's all right. You can be part of the Shire in your mind. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. Thanks, Barry. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. It's talking about the Shire Society, which you can go to shiresociety.com, and you can check out the Shire Society Declaration. It's like a personal declaration of independence. So, yeah, definitely take a look at that when you get a chance. Diazepam, according to Las Vegas Review-Journal's piece here, the alleged or the shooter there in Vegas was being prescribed this drug. In fact, according to the story here, the effects of the drug can also be magnified by alcohol. A 2015 study published in World Psychiatry of 960 Finnish adults and teens convicted of homicide.
My understanding, Finnish people don't drink.
Showed that their odds of killing were 45% higher during the time periods when they were on benzodiazepines. A year earlier.
The study said that their likelihood of them killing was 45% higher?
Yes, they were studying people convicted of homicide.
Okay.
A year earlier.
So then they are studying a group of people that kill. Gotcha.
Correct. A year earlier, the Australian and New Zealand Journal of Psychiatry published a study titled Benzodiazepine Use and Aggressive Behavior. The authors wrote, quote, "It appears that benzodiazepine use is moderately associated with subsequent aggressive behavior." Dr. Michael First, a clinical psychiatry professor at Columbia University and expert on benzos, said the Finnish study speaks for itself, but he also told the Review Journal that he believes the drugs would be more likely to fuel impulsive aggression than premeditated behavior. He said what this man did in Vegas was very planned.
Oh, it was very planned.
So more coming up here. You can share your thoughts with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We'll get back into the question of was white privileged somehow involved in this, and you can share your thoughts with us about anything. It's Free Talk Live.
ProPure water filters. Most trusted, most tested. Right now, you can save 25% on the ProPure Nomad Gravity System. Visit an authorized ProPure dealer for details. That's PROPUR.
Advertising your business with GCN is simple, effective, and more affordable than you might think. Visit advertise.gcnlive.com for more info. Take your business to the next level. That's advertise.gcnlive.com.
Dr. Carolyn Dean wants you to have a free chapter of her new book, The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition, and it's available at magmiracle.com. In your free chapter, Dr. Carolyn Dean explains how magnesium is essential to support the structure and function and overall health of your body. Your free chapter is your guide to learn how to support your heart, bone, metabolic, lung, and mental health with this powerful mineral. The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition is available on Amazon, but right now get a free chapter at magmiracle.com, spelled M-A-G, miracle.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free, bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. Learning more about the alleged shooter in Vegas, the man who is now dead. As you pointed out earlier, Mark, he's not going to get a trial for this. He ostensibly shot himself as police closed in upon him. Now we're finding out that he was on prescription medication like so many of the, like the school shooters. We've heard so many reports of a lot of these school shooters being on various different mind-bending.
Basically, every one of the recent shooters we have heard about, when it comes about 3 or 4 days later, be they white, brown, Muslim, all of like the Pulse shooter, he was on psychotropic meds.
The nightclub shooter,
yeah, Pulse
Orlando?
nightclub shooter. He's on psychotropic meds. The guy who shot up the theater in Colorado was on psychotropic meds. The crazy guy who shot the congresswoman, he was on psychotropic meds. This seems to be what's the word I'm looking for here? A pattern of like psychotropic meds make people want to shoot up public spaces. So
Seems that way.
When are we going to have a national discussion about that? I mean, if you want to take my rights away as an individual, you want to say, okay, America, free America, blah, 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 you get to have a gun right. We're going to have a national conversation about whether or not the government can take my right to have firearms, but we're not going to have a national conversation about how the FDA, a government agency, is in the back pocket of the pharmaceutical industry and is straight up approving drugs that are turning American citizens into psychotic killers.
Yeah, I mean, maybe these things help some people. They must. I would hope that they help some people with their problems, but everybody I've ever known that's been on this stuff has hated these antidepressants or whatever. Now, this wasn't an antidepressant, it was something else, but still.
Have you ever seen the commercials for one? Like, do you have feelings? Do you ever feel unhappy sometimes? Do you ever go out?
Soma.
Do you ever go out and just aren't happy? Well, yeah, it's called
life.
Human.
Yeah.
It's being a person and having stress in your life.
Well, okay, so there are mental illnesses. There
Agreed.
are medications that can sometimes help mental illnesses.
Agreed.
The problem is that this human brain thing we have is a very complex
fragile.
organ, and the people that are prescribing these medicines aren't generally there. They're also getting feedback from somebody who is, crazy. And that makes it very difficult. The families of these people are generally not medical professionals that can provide, mental health care. So they, are discounted and that sort of thing. It's a complex and difficult thing to get the right medication to the right person.
Oh, yeah. I have a sister who has mental health issues. And they put her on one medicine, and she ended up getting off on a charge. She almost killed somebody. And they straight up were like, yeah, it was the meds. They had her on the wrong levels of medications, and it made her psychotic. And she stabbed someone 7 times. And the courts were like, you know what? We're going to drop the charges, and now we're going to give you a crazy check.
Where is she now?
She lives with my mom in Tennessee. She moved into the house that we moved out of with my mom.
Mm-hmm. And is she still medicated?
She's currently in a facility. She checked herself into a facility a few days after we left.
You can share your thoughts with us here, whether it's on prescription meds or whatever you want to share. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go to Ricky. He's in Pennsylvania. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live.
That's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania there, Brother Ian, and I love you. You know that.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Well, a little something different tonight. I was sitting there thinking, and I was thinking about the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I was also thinking about the people of the Shire.
Okay.
And I was thinking about something that you said a couple nights back, Brother Ian, that moved me. The passion that was behind your voice when you said it. When you cried out for help and says, you know what? We need this. We need one thing, exactly what I'm all about.
Need what?
And that's the secession.
Oh, secession. Yeah.
And that was real. It may be brief, but real. See, I don't have that spiritual connection with you. I'm on radio. That's why it's hard to talk, Now, see, here's the commonalities between the people of the Shire and the people of the Commonwealth. We are a lot alike, a lot more alike than people realize. Give you a couple examples, if I may.
Sure.
Okay, first off, we both want one thing.
Oh.
And that's freedom and independence. That's one thing.
I'm not convinced that the people of the Commonwealth want freedom of
Tell that to Central PA Antifa.
Well, I don't know what. Hey, Will, I don't want to start talking about you. You already disappointed me tonight.
What?
Waffling on your position.
When did he waffle on his position?
Waffler.
I'm not going to get into that. That was
well, no, you can't just trot out an accusation like that and expect that it's not going to get questioned. You claim Will waffled tonight. I'd like to know on what.
Valium and the effects of Valium on an individual, and when it came to that man, and he had a personal experience and knowledge of it thereof, which then came out. I'm not going to get into it.
How did his experience with Valium?
Because I made fun of the fact that Valium is like depressed mother medicine. It's like what you give like suburban housewives because they're not happy.
Yeah, but you also knew very well what's going on with this and what's going on with this lone gunman. But that's another point. That's not important. But what is important is the commonality between the two of us. We both love Moxie. You know, a lot of people don't drink Moxie.
I've tried Moxie. It's okay. I mean,
it is foul.
It's terrible.
Shire drink it. People of the Commonwealth drink it. Not
RC Cola is better.
Do.
So Moxie's kind of like Dr. Pepper, right? I mean,
no, it's kind of like licorice with soda water.
RC Cola is superior
than Moxie, or superior than other colas.
Well, we're not
than other colas as well. But yeah, it's still better. It's definitely better than Moxie.
I had never seen Moxie before I moved up here. I thought.
Then again, I'm a redneck, not a Yankee, so I mean, it may just be a taste thing.
I thought it was a New England thing because Moxie was originally
Yankees, New England, it's the same thing.
Yeah, well, I thought. I mean, yeah. So is it big out where you are, Ricky? Moxie?
It's interesting because yes and no. I mean, over time, it's kind of drifting away. It used to be very big here in the Commonwealth, very popular. You could just walk up to a corner store and grab it, but it kind of disappearing. And I'm sure New Hampshire's the same way.
All right, so you're claiming that people in Pennsylvania like Moxie and people in New Hampshire like Moxie, and you're claiming that people in Pennsylvania like independence and people in New Hampshire like independence. But
we have one other thing in common: the same problem. See,
what's that?
And we have
the federal government.
Have another thing too. We're the top two territories in this whole country with an opiate abuse problem. We have that in common too. But we have one other important thing, and this goes in line with that. And this is the biggest problem between people like you, Ian, and people like me that do their damnedest to try to bring upon that freedom and independence. This is what the people of the Shire and the people of the Commonwealth, they have one thing in common, and that's fear. They have a lot of fear. I could tell you right now, people here in the Commonwealth are scared to death.
Of what?
You know, of what? The same thing that both of us fear. It's called the state.
No, I don't live in fear. Thanks for the call tonight, Ricky.
Nice.
Appreciate it. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, and I think that the people who are coming to New Hampshire, the migrants who are coming here as part of the New Hampshire freedom migration, I think that those people aren't afraid, most of them. I think that, by virtue of the fact that they're willing to stick their head up above the water and be seen as, an incoming crew of liberty-loving people into this one place, that we're seeing libertarians come from around the country, around the world to congregate in this one geographic area, that is not fear. I mean, that is something that people who have courage do, to pick up your life and move without, really having known what you're getting into. I mean, Will, you were excited about moving to New Hampshire, but you still didn't know all the details about what it was going to be like when you got here.
Yeah, I've had some culture shock, to say the least.
There's some courage involved in that.
Highest state for opium abuse deaths is Ohio.
What's number two?
I got to put my list together.
More coming up. This is Free Talk Live. Join us.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well. So Skype on in here. Skype username is LRN.FM. You can bring up anything, even make up statistics. As you guys have been digging around through the internet to check Ricky's claim that New Hampshire and Pennsylvania were the number 1 and number 2 states, respectively, for opiate abuse. And turns out New Hampshire's, it depends on what list you look at, but Pennsylvania not near the top 2.
New Hampshire is near the top. Yeah. West Virginia beats out New Hampshire. 2015, best we can tell that I think we can agree on the top 3, Will, from everything we've looked at.
Well, I've got the Centers for Disease Control here, and it says, according to the 2015 numbers, 41.5 West Virginians per 100,000 died of drug overdoses. Now, that's correct. That doesn't mean they were opiate overdoses, but most drug overdoses are caused by opiates. That's followed by New Hampshire, Kentucky, Ohio, and then Rhode Island. It says that there were a significant increase in drug overdose death rates from 2014 to 2015.
You're ranking based on the drug overdoses. Yeah. I'm ranking based on opioid overdose death rate age adjusted.
Well, this says drug and opioid overdose deaths.
So yours would include crack.
Yeah.
Yours wouldn't, Mark.
And it's age adjusted. I think both of them are age adjusted, best I can tell. So anyway, essentially, Pennsylvania is nowhere near the top of this list.
All right.
West Virginia is, and it borders Pennsylvania, so maybe the area where Ricky is. I don't know precisely where Ricky lives in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but it is, maybe his area is bad. But
where's Vermont on the list?
It's not.
Not on the list. That's
not
interesting because
really.
it's right next door here.
Yeah. this says specifically of synthetic opioids that between 2014 and 2015, the death rate for synthetic opioids other than methadone increased by 72.2%, and that heroin death rates, so a different opioid, went up 20%. Nationally.
To
Vermont's
Vermont,
number 17.
where Robert is on the line. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
The question is, do we know for a fact that this is the guy that actually did the shooting?
Well, you don't know for a fact, and that's why I said allegedly at the very beginning of the show. Mark took offense to that. I mean, it sure looks like it was him, right? Like he's the alleged body they found in the hotel room from which shots were being fired, but without any actual evidence that he was the one pulling the trigger. Then no, we don't really know.
Odd how they always shoot themselves or are shot by the police, but there's never a body for the public to see.
There's a body.
There's a picture.
There's a picture of a body,
but not a public photo, like the media or the police. Or
somehow it was released. It was released. I don't know if it was leaked or
it's gruesome.
Yeah, you can see the dude laying on a carpet and with blood all over his head or whatever.
I mean,
I didn't look closely at it.
There's never going to be a sufficient amount of evidence for, a certain segment of the population.
Well, sure. I mean, some people believe it's a false flag and that it didn't happen, or that it was, that there were crisis actors and that nobody really got shot. I mean, there's all kinds of ridiculous conspiracy theories out there that, in my opinion, don't really deserve to be entertained at all. But Robert, your thoughts, please.
Well, it just doesn't. I mean, the investigation obviously isn't finished yet. But
sure.
The thing about it is that, from what I've learned, the guy wasn't part of any hate group. He wasn't a part of any political party. He was, very wealthy. He, was
he
a
should
retired.
Be. He worked for the government.
No, just
yeah.
For a
But
bit.
what I'm saying is that he
was
lived.
like a decade.
Well, he lived, from what it appears, a rather fruitful life, and then all of a sudden he just turns and starts killing people for no reason.
Maybe money doesn't solve every problem.
There's information missing.
Well, of course there's information missing. I mean, what we just learned tonight was that this guy apparently was on Diazepam, which could cause even more aggression in already aggressive, angry people. He did also, according to ABC Action News in Tampa Bay, WFTS, he spent a decade working for the government, Mark. I wouldn't call that a stint.
It's not like he's getting a pension from it, though. I mean,
no.
You're suggesting that he's wealthy because of work for the government.
I mean,
I'm not
they
sure.
pay pretty well, don't they?
I know for myself, I'm not sure if this is politically, motivated. I think it's a group out there doing this. That's just my opinion, and they're trying to spook the public.
Where's the manifesto? Usually these nut jobs do this stuff. They always put an online manifesto, or they find some book or something
they leave
that they
it there
wrote
in the apartment or whatever.
Where's it at?
Well, we don't know. I mean, it's still early,
I'm
right?
assuming. I'm only guessing. But I mean, there's no logical I mean, if you go back and look at all of these shootings,
logic doesn't factor
that
into
we've
this.
had in the last 5 years, you can't really, come up with any logical reason as to
you
why
don't logically go and do these sorts of things. This is a completely insane thing to do, which is why the pills probably played a role in this. Robert, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The story here from ABC Action News says Stephen Paddock, who's the ostensible shooter, his work history has included stints with the U.S. Post Office, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Department of Defense. According to the Office of Personnel Management, the OPM, which tracks government employee work history, the former accountant spent a total of about a decade on the government's payroll.
So a guy who works at the DoD somehow magically ended up with a saw rifle. That's not convenient at all.
In July of 1976, he landed a letter carrier position where he spent 2 years before moving on to the IRS as an internal revenue agent. While it remains unclear which division of the IRS he worked, a spokesperson with OPM says he spent 6 years with the IRS before he ended up in the auditing department of the Defense Contract Audit Agency.
It sounds like, if I just make some wild guess here, and maybe this portrays some kind of a bias of mine or whatever, but, he's probably killed people because he's a miserable government bureaucrat.
Could be, although...
He went postal.
Well, he was in the Postal Service 40 years ago.
But he was a government bureaucrat a great deal, right?
For 10 years. For 10 years of his life. So it sounds like he got out of government work maybe in the mid-1980s.
Oh, well, then he's fine.
Would be my guess.
He's recovered then.
I don't know what he did just before this, but it says he was an accountant, so presumably he continued doing accounting work, just maybe in private industry.
And probably making more money than he did working for the government.
Could very well be. So anyway, just because he's wealthy doesn't mean that he's not subject to insanity.
Right. I think that I also think that people who don't have a whole bunch of money to spare, and most Americans don't, believe that somehow having money to spare makes you happy. And
oh, no.
It doesn't.
No.
No. Happiness comes from the inside.
Right. And some people learn this the hard way when they end up with a bunch of money and a whole bunch more problems because of it. Let's go to James. He's in New Jersey, listening on YouTube at cam.freetalklive.com. Hello, James.
Hello. My name is James. I'm from New Jersey.
Hi, James.
And I wanted to talk about autism.
Sure.
I have autism, and I just wanted to hear your opinion on that.
Well, autism is like a whole spectrum, right? Like there's a big, wide range of how that can affect people, as I understand it. I mean, there's a little boy in this neighborhood who got lost earlier this year, and he's autistic to the point where he can't even speak. So, he wouldn't be able to tell somebody who he went up to if he was lost. Yeah, they sure were. They were looking all over the place for him. But if he were to end up somewhere,
Did you employ the studio beast?
No, he would not be able to explain to a person what the problem was. He would just presumably stand there and look at them. I don't know, but you have autism and you're able to converse with us. So there's a spectrum here, right?
Yes. Also, I get bullied a lot because of my autism, and I just hate how kids do that these days. It's just not unfair.
Are you in school?
Kids are evil and cruel.
And it's not these days.
Yeah, it's always been like that.
Yeah.
Read a river runs through it, and you will find that, the fact is that people have been read Tom Sawyer. Read
kids have been mean for a long time.
Kids are mean. It's a crucible for sort of social interaction, and I guess that what I'd have to say regarding that is sticks and stones, is a nice little saying when it comes to those things. And I don't think there's any adult you're going to talk to who's going to identify as having been anything but a weird kid. Everybody believes they're a weird kid.
James, I want to hear more about what it's like for you. If you want to hang on and tell us, you can. So stand by here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live. We got hour number 3 on the way. Plenty of time for you if you want to join us, whether you want to talk about the shooter or whatever you want. It's Free Talk Live.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,254. Antiwar.com reports election officials in Iraqi Kurdistan have announced that they intend to hold both presidential and parliamentary votes for the region on November 1st, aiming to bolster the government after last week's referendum on secession from Iraq. Iraqi Kurdistan voted overwhelmingly in favor of secession with over 92% yes votes on heavy turnout. Iraqi officials have vowed to bring the Kurds back under their control and have been supported by Turkey and Iran in possible military actions against them. Iraq has already closed Kurdistan's airport and is in the process of seizing their border crossings. The Iraqi Central Bank announced new financial sanctions on Tuesday, including a full stop of all foreign currency transfers into Kurdish banks. As far as the elections go, President Barzani is a real question mark as Kurdish law restricts him from 2 terms in office, and he's already on his 3rd term, extending it because of the war against the Islamic State. Given the overwhelming support for secession, it's safe to say that's a winning issue virtually all major Kurdish politicians will be emphasizing. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports every single Yahoo email account, more than 3 billion of them, were affected by a data breach in 2013. The information was released by Verizon Communications, which bought Yahoo for $4.48 billion earlier this year. The disclosure comes less than a year after Yahoo announced that a data breach affected approximately 1 billion accounts. This time, however, the company is saying that every single Yahoo email address fell victim to the data breach, and the New York Times reported that hackers obtained names, birth dates, phone numbers, passwords, security questions, and backup email addresses used to reset passwords. But Oath, the Verizon Communications subsidiary that owns Yahoo, said in a statement that the hackers did not gain access to the user's financial information. The statement reads, "The investigation indicates that the user account information that was stolen did not include passwords in clear text, payment card data, or bank account information." In a separate statement, Yahoo said it did take steps to rectify the data breach after it occurred. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Supreme Court justices clashed on Tuesday over whether courts should curb the long-standing U.S. political practice of drawing electoral maps to entrench one party in power, with conservative Judge Anthony Kennedy likely to cast the deciding vote. The 9 justices heard an hour of arguments in the major voting rights case out of Wisconsin involving the practice known as partisan gerrymandering. Their ruling, due by June, could have an impact on U.S. elections for decades by setting standards for when electoral districts are laid out with such extreme partisan claim that they deprive voters of their constitutional rights. Kennedy, who sometimes sides with the court's liberal justices in big rulings, did not definitively tip his hand on how he would rule, but posed tough questions to Wisconsin lawyers that signaled his aversion to the electoral districts drawn to give one party a lopsided advantage in elections. Gerrymandering, a practice that began 2 centuries ago, involves manipulating boundaries of legislative districts to benefit one party and diminish another. Democratic and Republican critics argue that gerrymandering is becoming more extreme because it can now be guided by precise voter data and map-making technology, distorting the democratic process by letting politicians choose their voters rather than the other way around. Kennedy pressed Aaron Murphy, a lawyer for Wisconsin State Senate, on whether it would be unconstitutional for a state law to contain explicit provisions favoring one party over another. Murphy conceded it would be. A federal 3-judge panel ruled 2-1 last November that Wisconsin's redistricting plan violated the Constitution's First Amendment right to freedom of expression and association and the 14th Amendment guarantee of equal protection under the law because of the extent to which it marginalized Democratic voters. Wisconsin appealed the ruling to the Supreme Court. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Coming up a little later, the 10 best careers for someone at your level of attractiveness.
Oh, but right now we have something truly incredible for you. Kenneth Quinn is a real-life psychic medium who claims that he can communicate with dead acquaintances. He's written a new book. It's called Small Talk from Beyond, Speaking with Distant Relatives and Friends of Friends Who Have Passed.
Hi,
Good to see you. Now, Kenneth, you've written that you're able to connect people with the spirits of their old college professors or roommates that they didn't really know that well. When did you realize that you had this gift?
Well, it was the day after my cousin's friend's wife's funeral. I was at home and I suddenly felt a presence in the room with me. And I heard a voice say, "It's Vicky. Vicky Solchek, Dale's wife."
Wow.
We made a Tim's birthday thing a while back, and we talked about how hard it is having a cat.
Fascinating.
This has been so amazing.
This has been fabulous. Thank you, Kenneth Quinn, for being our guest. Stay with us because coming up next, we're going to show you how to lose some of that excessive weight by constantly picking at your skin.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Will, and Mark.
So we've talked a lot about the kind of the latest news around the shooter, the alleged shooter in Vegas, who is now dead, was shot ostensibly by his own doing, by his own gun, on late Sunday night as dozens and dozens of people were slaughtered, approximately 58 people dead, over 500 injured at this insane mass killing, which is the largest mass killing if you factor out all the government mass killings from the list in American history. You can, of course, bring up whatever you want. We ended up finding out that the shooter was on some kind of Diazepam, a.k.a. Valium, which apparently some people and some studies have shown can actually increase aggression if people who are already aggressive start taking it. And so maybe that's a factor here. Now, one of the big question marks, as I understand it, is the girlfriend who was apparently sent away during this thing, off to the Philippines or something like that.
As I understand it, yeah.
And she's apparently now back, and I imagine the police are having a lot of questions for her.
I bet. I'd have an attorney.
No doubt. Let's go to your calls, though. We have James on the line in New Jersey. He said in the very end of the last segment, we took his call. And James, you told us you have autism, and you were calling to ask us our opinion about autism. I don't honestly know a whole lot about it. I know that it's sort of a word that has been used, I feel like, more in recent times. Is it, is this something that it's always been around, obviously, but it's only been diagnosed in the last 20 years, or have I just started paying attention in the last, decade? It seems like it's been thrown around a lot in the last decade of my life relating to children and having this. I don't know if I'm asking the right person, James, but, tell us what you know about autism.
Well, I know sometimes it could be a very, very scary thing because I'm 17 and I just found out that I have autism. But I just think it's terrifying. I think it's just one big bad dream, and I wish I never had it.
Now, how do you find this out at age 17? What was it that led to that happening?
We were at the hospital, and the doctor mentioned something about autism, and I was like, "What is that?" And my mom told me about it, so that's how I found out.
So the doctor diagnosed you with autism, or you just felt like you fit the criteria?
He diagnosed me.
Okay.
What brought you there in the first place?
Clinic.
A clinic?
Yeah. I'm a heart transplant recipient.
Wow.
And I was born with dilated cardiomyopathy.
Wow.
And how do you end up in the hospital for a heart transplant, and then they find out you have autism? I mean, autism's it's a mental thing, right? It's not necessarily again, I don't know a whole lot about it, so please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's not like they can just take your blood and say, "Oh, you've got autism."
Exactly. Yeah, they ask you a bunch of questions, and it's on like a paper written test for you.
So they just figured, "Oh, we've got a teenager here. We should give him an autism test?"
Yeah.
Is it the sort of thing? So I took some bubbled-in tests when I was a teenager, and for like personality and that sort of thing. My answers changed into adulthood.
Yeah.
Is this the sort of thing that perhaps with, I don't know, socialization or something like that, it might actually go away? Or maybe you don't sound like you don't sound particularly strange to me. So I'm just wondering.
No, they said it would never go away. They said I'd have it for the rest of my life, which I actually believe because I do things that an autism kid would do.
Like what?
I have to have things organized, and I have to have everything clean, or I start having a panic attack.
How clean are we talking about here?
Like vacuum every day, polish everything, use window cleaning.
Now, didn't they used to call that obsessive-compulsive disorder?
Yeah.
So
there's a difference, though. Like,
so some people can be obsessive-compulsive but not autistic?
They said that it could be both.
Well, here you go,
My dad's
ladies. This is the perfect guy for you.
I gotta say, I mean, he's communicating just fine here. So, like, he's obviously. Did they consider you high-functioning autistic? I've seen that terminology.
They call me hyper sometimes.
It would seem to me that, if your biggest problem is that you clean too much, I mean, I would not call that a disability. I wouldn't call
Unless
that
your hands are getting destroyed by the cleansers.
Good point. Yeah,
at the very least, you have a
gloves.
clean house.
Yeah, I guess.
You're not a hoarder.
I can tell you, if I knew somebody who was that clean, I'd hire him to clean the LRN studios.
Move him in as a roommate.
James, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate that. The toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Is that something they do in hospitals? Like, oh, you brought a teenager in. Let's test him for autism?
I don't know.
Maybe I've got kids. I've never had them try to do that with me.
Maybe they just fired the janitor. They were trying to get the floor cleaned.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I now that he's gone, I have more questions. Like, well, are you on pills for this? And if so, why? I mean, do you want to take a pill that's going to make you more dirty? I mean, I get it. If you've
OCD isn't a walk in the park, okay?
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
where you're like closing and opening the locks 10 times after you walk inside.
He said that it has to be clean, or he has a panic attack.
Okay.
So there's that constant sort of looming fear of whatever it is that dirty houses bring. I'm not entirely whatever it is. I've got it. I can assure you.
I'd love to turn him loose on that house we had to clean out 2 weeks ago because my God, it was horrifying.
He'd never leave. Yeah,
he'd still be there cleaning. If I had no life, I would be.
Yeah.
If I had no life, I'd still be there cleaning.
So anyway, Asperger's syndrome, autism, if you want to comment on that, you're certainly welcome to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. Now, Mark, in the occasionally throughout this show, we've dug a little bit into this story that you brought in from The Intercept, written by some guy who is alleging that there's a white privilege involved in the way that the ostensible shooter in Vegas has been treated in the media. Is the idea?
I think that there's an underlying truth to what the author here says. His name is, real quick, Sean King. Yeah, Sean King. There's an underlying truth to what Sean King says. So if this if the shooter had been named Muhammad Abdullah whatever.
Tawfiq.
Whatever it might be, Smith, whatever the Muslim version of Smith is,
then ISIS would have claimed responsibility, which they did already for this guy, but everyone would have believed it.
Right. So, I mean, like, if you would have heard the guy's name was Muhammad, what would you have thought about this particular shooting, right?
I would have thought he's a crazy man just like anybody else.
I would have thought that it was ideologically motivated, whether or not it's what I would call real Islam or what Will would call real Islam or whatever. That's beside the point. I would have presumed that he made his decisions based on that. Now, I think that the underlying truth is that. So that is sort of a true statement. The rest of it, sort of, white people have it so good because they're not presumed to be terrorists when they shoot a bunch of people. Well, I mean,
Timothy McVeigh was considered to be a terrorist.
Timothy McVeigh
right?
was considered to be a terrorist because he was a conservative with an ideological goal. As opposed to just somebody who was prescribed benzos and went bananas because of it.
Yeah, but you have to remember, like, Sean King is a part of a movement that their bread and butter is redefining words to fit their agenda. Like, racism means white person in their book. So, I mean, if he's redefining the word, well, that's kind of the way that they live and conduct their activism is.
But we have to shine a light on it.
Redefine words.
Yeah, I have to shine a light on that and show people that look, we'll call white people terrorists. I'll call a white person a terrorist happily if the ideological bend is there. Now, I didn't know that the shooter in Orlando was on mood enhancers because, facts slide out of my brain after they're, a month old or whatever it might be.
Sounds like you need a prescription.
Yeah, well, that's what I need. Yeah.
Have you called Pfizer? We have a pill for you.
I bet they do.
All right, we're going to continue here. Is there more to this Sean guy worth sharing?
Yeah, there's a little bit here that I'd like to read.
All right, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, and you're invited to join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live.
Called it elephant skin. It was rough, wrinkly, like a Brillo pad.
His hair was falling out in clumps.
Petey stopped eating and all his hair fell out.
Our golden retriever, Sundance, he scratched incessantly. There was hair all over.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Within 2 weeks, the shedding slowed down to almost none. The scratching went away after a few days, and Sundance's coat was starting to get shiny and glossy.
It's a 180 turnaround. His skin has cleared up. He's not in pain.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, do the Dinovite.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us right here. Toll free, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype as well. So feel free to Skype on in and join us at Skype username lrn.fm. Whether you want to talk about the shooter, the alleged shooter, or whatever you want to call him, or whatever's on your mind, you can do that. And a statement has been released from his girlfriend in the Philippines, Marilou Danley. We can tell you what she has to say here in moments. But, Mark, you wanted to share more from this opinion piece over at The Intercept that we've been sort of nibbling at throughout the show here tonight. I do want to let you know about freetalklive.com, where you can go and get interactive in a variety of different ways, including our forum. You can interact with other Free Talk Live listeners. Gene the Christian Anarchist is one of the newest forum members over there at forum.freetalklive.com. So we're actually seeing kind of a rebuilding to some extent of some of the original Free Talk Live forum members.
There are some, yeah.
So Jay is there, or Boner Joe is there, and Gene the Christian Anarchist, WTFK. So some of the old school have arisen again and rejoined the forum, and everybody seems to be having a good time over there. So check it out. It's free. All you have to do is post a brief introduction, and that's the way we keep the spammers out. So spammers can't get past the brief introduction requirement. They don't have what it takes.
They've got to talk about sunglasses. That's really what's important to them.
They just can't avoid talking about the thing they
and ways to get off-brand Viagra.
Yeah, or they just put in some really generic sounding thing that's obviously not.
Yes.
They didn't read the instructions. So it's basically a spam-free forum at this point, which is pretty sweet. So check it out at forum.freetalklive.com, and we continue here. Mark, so what else did you want to share from this Intercept piece?
Yeah, so
about the shooter.
The author goes on here and says, I spoke to two people this morning, one black, the other Muslim. Both of them said that when they heard about this awful shooting in Las Vegas, they immediately began hoping that the shooter was not black or Muslim. Why? Because they knew that the blowback on all African Americans or Muslims would be fierce if the shooter hailed from one of those two communities. And I would say that it probably didn't change anything for those communities, which is to say,
we were still blamed. I mean, it's not like what's his name, Wayne Allen Root. No, not him. The
David
other
Duke?
one. No. The one that ran with Wayne Allen Root, like the
Bob Barr.
Yes, he was on Twitter talking about it's the Muslims and I know it.
Wow.
And, immediately but it was the same thing. See, this is what happens when a terrorist attack happens. The left immediately starts yelling right-wing white guy,
and gun control.
And the right immediately starts yelling Muslims and immigrant and immigration control. Again, we're back to the whole but when it's a white liberal, everybody starts, oh, wait, what? He's got a mental disorder.
I think it's fair to point this out that if we're going to play, what is this called? Identity politics, right?
Yes.
And before we get into it, I'd like to say I believe that people should be judged based on their actions, that you shouldn't be judging them based on, appearance, gender, and all these other things.
Oh, you mean like Martin Luther King said years and years ago, but now the people who claim his memory and to be carrying his torch totally reject, and now everything in life boils down to skin color, because that's what the new
that's what
race
he's saying, basically.
Activist mantra is that everything should be judged based on skin color, particularly non-people of color. If you're white, everything you do should be based on the color of your skin. It's literally like the racism of the old days, only completely,
turned
the same, just turned on its head. And it's not reverse racism, because reverse racism is a myth. There's no such thing as reverse racism. There is racism. You're black and you're racist against white people. Mm-hmm. You're white and you're racist against black people. There is no it's not reversed. It's just racism.
Well, I think that there's sort of these underlying opinions that lie out there, and I'm willing to concede that much. And I will judge a person, for instance, if a 100-pound woman wants to be a firefighter. Immediately I'm going to start saying I got questions. But
you're still talking about the individual there,
right? But you're talking about an individual. I care about individuals. What no one will say here is that the foregone conclusion of this shooter before anyone asked any questions was that it was male. That no one even says. It's not even asking a question.
It's a fair presumption, because how many of the mass shooters ever have been female?
Well, right. None of them. Very, very few. I can't think of any mass shooter. But
San Bernardino, one of the shooters was supposed to have been
one was a woman, but one's. I presume that everybody believes that her husband or
right. How many of the killings were her doing versus his?
Right, and right. So here we have a situation where the vast majority of killings are done by a male, and people believe it's going to be a male in the future. What is that but sexism?
I don't think that's sexism. That's just looking at the evidence and saying
by
this is
the
what
definition,
happens.
It is judging. It is judging based on gender and making a quick rush to judgment of every situation based on gender.
If the feminists come out and say that males should be eliminated because they are more likely to commit mass murders and wars and all the things that they do, and this is a line of thinking within certain feminist communities, certainly not all of them by any stretch of the imagination, but that it is self-evident that males are more violent than females, and it's a hard point to argue. So therefore, we should make presumptions based on that.
I don't know
would
if it's
say
sexism.
That's a hard point to argue. Most of the problem is that violence committed by females is not reported most times. So if you're
but they're not mass shooting. They might be whacking their husband with a frying pan, but they're not mass shooting.
True.
Now, maybe they whack their kids with a frying pan, and that's why he grew up to be a mass shooter. I can't really speak to that, but nonetheless, the fact of the matter is that sexism is so deeply ingrained in our society when it comes to violence that it isn't that people won't even argue it.
Well, I mean, in the case of domestic violence, women are frequently the participants, the doers.
I'm not talking about domestic violence. I'm talking about mass shootings.
I understand that, but I'm giving you an example of where, whatever is ingrained about women not being violent. There's plenty of violent women out there. They just generally don't rise to the level of mass shooting kind of violence. And according to dictionary.com, Mark, sexism is discrimination on the basis of sex. So when you're talking about a, presumption about a mass shooter based on the evidence of all past mass shooters, that's not really the same kind of discrimination as we're not going to give you a job or we're not going to rent a house to you.
All the police officers before the first female police officer were male police officers.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
At some point, there may be a female mass shooter out there, but I wouldn't call that sexism because we're not talking about denying somebody something because of their gender. That's generally what
you're just presuming.
It's making hasty generalizations based on gender,
which is the guy's name was Mohammed. You and I, maybe not you, the vast majority of people would have presumed this was an ideologically motivated, and including myself, would have presumed this was an ideologically motivated killing, and that the guy was some kind of Islamic extremist. Right?
Well, you shouldn't presume. You know what happens when you presume.
You're right most of the time. Like, I'm going to go ahead and say the next mass shooter is probably going to be male.
All right, so more coming up here.
I'm right most of the time.
You can join us and take control of the airwaves. If we get a chance, we'll share with you what the girlfriend of the alleged shooter in Vegas had to say in a release sent. Apparently, she issued the statement after returning from the Philippines and being questioned by the FBI. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And is it sexist, as Marcus and Will are saying, to just simply say that mass shooters have been male, and so they probably will continue to be?
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNloans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNloans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNloans.com. That's GCNloans.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and we're inviting you to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. In the studio, joining you tonight here in our beautiful Keene, New Hampshire studios, you've got Ian,
Will,
and Mark.
And we're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Of course, you can bring up anything that you want. Also, if you are listening to Free Talk Live online via podcast and you're using something like iTunes or Stitcher, and there's a way to rate Free Talk Live, and you haven't done that yet, then please take a moment and leave us a rating. Be honest, of course, how you feel about it. But leave us if there's a star rating, leave us a star rating.
If you honestly don't like the show, perhaps there's better things you can do with your time than rate the show.
There you go. And if you want to say something and they let you type something in, please go ahead and type in a little review. We sure do appreciate it, and your ratings and reviews help propagate Free Talk Live in theory. I mean, we don't know how their systems work, but presumably those shows that are getting ratings and getting reviews are likely to be promoted over those that aren't. So take a moment, do that next time you're in your podcasting client there, and we certainly appreciate it. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. Tom is in Baltimore. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tom.
Hi, gentlemen.
Hey there.
I first wanted to ask Will if his commitment to the Muslim faith diminishes any of his white card privilege.
Actually, depends on who you talk to. Like if you're dealing with liberals, seriously, I've actually had this.
It happens all the time.
It happens
to you.
to me all the time. Yeah. The fact, if I'm in conservative and libertarian circles, the fact that I'm Muslim outweighs the fact that I'm white. That's just I'm seen as
you're a traitor.
I'm seen as a Muslim. Mm-hmm. Whereas if in left-wing circles, the fact that I'm Muslim means nothing. Like I'm white, and I'm the whitest white that white ever was, and I actually am. I'm not allowed to practice my religion because I'm white. So if I do a good deed, like say there was a guy who gave an anti-Muslim speech in New York back in June, he had a heart attack while he was giving that speech. I thought, what a great way to teach a good lesson about how Islam views magnanimity toward your enemies. So I decided, let me raise $10,000 to help pay his hospital bills, and was immediately attacked by Sean King and Linda Sarsour, and that whole group called me a Nazi, a white supremacist,
because you were trying to help.
I
this
was
bad
enabling whiteness. Well, what ended up happening was some of the money. I didn't get to raise very much money because they came after me with all barrels and labeled me a Nazi and basically derailed our fundraiser. That money went to open a mosque, though. Why? Because the circus that the left-wing people created made it to where the guy who was supposed to receive the money didn't even want it.
Wow.
And it validated his view that Muslims are only allowed to do good things for other Muslims. But the positive is that there were other people in his group that saw it and they were touched by it. And I actually have like a $10 donation. I mean, it's not much, but a person who was helping organize an anti-Muslim event 2 months ago donated $10 to open a mosque. That's a pretty big thing. And it came from the fact that I was like, look, this guy, it doesn't matter if he's my enemy, he needs my help. And Salahuddin, Abdul Qadir al-Jazari, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. There are tons of examples throughout history of people doing bad things to Muslims and Muslims reacting by doing good things in return because they were sick or because they had been hurt. And I was trying to do that.
Muhammad taught?
It's something not only that he taught, but something that he did.
He acted. Yeah.
Acted. He didn't just talk about it. And that's what I wanted to do. Instead of talking about what Islam teaches and how Islam is not what these haters say it is, I decided to go out and actually do it with action. And because I wanted to put action to my words, I'm a Nazi.
But that was the lefties that were saying that. How did the Muslims treat you?
No, the Muslim scholars defended me and were called names like coon and Nazi by the liberal Muslim cadre. So like your big name liberal Muslim activists that everybody knows their name were all calling me a Nazi and like called the dogs out. And then when the scholars of our religion came out and were like, this is wrong for you to treat this brother like this, he's doing what Islam says, they were like, I have a degree in women's studies. You have 30 years of study of Islam. I'm more qualified than you, coon. Go sit down. And they literally started using racial epithets against black. These are race activists, anti-racism activists, using racial epithets against black imams because the black imams were like, the religion says this brother is doing the right thing. So they attacked him.
Does that answer your question, Tom?
Well, I'll tell you, I said it kind of tongue-in-cheek, and I'm fascinated by the answer, and thank you, Will, for going into such in-depth explanation to a question that was, like I said tongue-in-cheek. But really, these days, these are actual real issues that I think we're going to have to talk about. I'm going to forego what I actually was going to speak about and ask Will, since what he's saying is so intriguing, this. I understand that in the Muslim faith, by age 10, when kids basically can read pretty well, they're expected to have memorized the verses, right? The surahs in the Quran.
Well, I don't know about expected.
That was classic. Something that
all Muslims are expected to memorize as much as they possibly can.
But back in the day, when it was an oral tradition, if I may interject here, based on what little study I've done some. In the original days, the Quran wasn't written. It was an oral tradition. It was, supposedly given to Muhammad orally, by God, and then he relayed it orally to, the people who were following him, and they relayed it orally. And so I think it was like by age 6 at that time that the children were expected to know the entire thing, but I could be wrong about that. No?
No.
Okay. But they were expected to know the whole thing back in the day.
Also, no.
No? Okay.
That was something some parents sent their kids to become hafiz, which are people who have memorized the entire
whole
Quran.
thing.
Now, there were a lot more hafiz back in the day, but there was no requirement that you become a hafiz. As a matter of fact, Imam Shafi'i, who was the father of the Shafi'i madhab, had memorized the entire Quran by age 6, and that is like it's talked about like it's some major feat that he had done so. So that it's like this unusual thing
but
for
it makes
him
sense
to
that
have done.
It makes sense that there was more of it back in the day because
basically
you couldn't write things down.
It's just like in Christian tradition. You go to Sunday school and you memorize a few Bible verses, and then you come back the next Sunday school and you recite those Bible verses.
Christians aren't reciting it 5 times a day, which of course is going to commit it to memory much better.
Exactly.
And on the heels of what I just said, let me ask you this, and this is where I think a lot of people get their concerns. Like, Ian, I've done some cursory study of the religion. Some things do concern me, like, for instance, in the Quran, one of the surahs, I think 190-something, talks about slaying young
191
wherever you find them. Muslims must not take the infidels as friends ever. Any religion other than Islam is not acceptable.
Okay, so you're going through a bunch of sort of the typical...
191, that's really simple. Go to verse 190 and start there instead of starting at 191. It'll totally...
What are you going to see?
Well, 190 says that there's been a treaty that was broken by violence from the Quraysh, and in response to that violence that was committed against you, then starts 191, then 191 talks about go out, find them, slay them wherever you find them, that sort of thing.
Right.
So, but
now,
it starts off with...
No, wait a minute. Does that counter Muhammad's other prescription that people not attack an attacker once the attacker has turned and fled?
Well, no, we're talking about actual, like, this is what's happening.
In a state of war.
We are in a state
of war. It's happening right
war.
now, that's what you're saying.
But even in a state of war, if someone on the battlefield, literally on the battlefield in battle, says, I don't want to fight anymore, and offers you peace, you are required by Islam to take them from the battlefield, find them a place of protection before you can return to the fight. So,
well, I get that, but like with Ian Shire Church and Christianity, the Quran keeps coming back with things that take what you're citing as legitimate mitigating circumstances and verses, and then it'll tell you further on in the Quran to terrorize and behead those who believe anything other than the Quran. I mean, that's where people have difficulty.
The Quran doesn't say that.
That is an incorrect paraphrase of that verse.
Hold on, Tom. We'll bring it back here. Tom's fired up. He's got some things he believes about the Quran, and you have done a lot of studying on this here, Will, probably more so than any of us combined, and then some. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
When I get to about 3/4,
When I get down to the bottom,
A couple more scoops.
it's time to place my order.
Dinovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
If it's working, don't quit. DINOVITE.com.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-557-0158. That's 800-557-0158. Again, 800-557-0158.
You are nothing more than the reflection of a grim, pitiless world, and this is The Onion Week in Review. Following the Supreme Court's ruling on same-sex marriage this week, overjoyed gay couples in Florida rushed out of their homes to have their marriages denied to them. Homosexual couples throughout the southern state told reporters they were ecstatic over the landmark decision supporting gay rights and said they couldn't wait in line and have their requests to be wed rejected by their home state. And in science news, scientists probably discovered a frog or something. They're always doing that sort of shit. In other news, an 8-year-old boy surprises his Marine father during a firefight in Afghanistan. Johnny Depp is now physically unable to walk unless whimsically teeter-tottering across a rolling log, wobbly plank, or swaying beam. And Silvio Berlusconi is transferred to a steamy, all-female penitentiary. If you're seeking a celebrity interview, stay away from that bastard Tobey Maguire, who apparently can't even pick up a phone to say he has a schedule conflict and won't be able to make it into the studio. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free to join us right here. In these remaining moments, we got enough time for you. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Well, maybe. Actually, our phones are pretty loaded up. So if you don't get in tonight, then we always have another show tomorrow night. It's really been a busy show tonight for a weekday show, so I appreciate everybody's participation. Lots of really useful information was added here tonight from folks living out in the Nevada, Vegas area, people who've worked in casinos. We really got some good information from some folks with some expertise much beyond those of us behind the microphones, and that's, I think, when Free Talk Live is at its best. When
Agreed.
We got large participation here. It's helpful.
Show that relies on participation.
Yep. So we'll continue with your calls and thoughts. Tom in Baltimore had called in here tonight. It's Ian and Mark, and Will Coley is with us from Muslims for Liberty, Muslims4Liberty.org. I did mention the beginning of the show, and now's a good time for it, so we're going to get back into Tom's thoughts here in a moment. But I did mention that you're engaging in a fundraiser right now for a mosque that is in process of being built. There's still the cleanup efforts are pretty much done at this point in this house that was previously being rented by just some tenants, and the place was basically trashed. So there was a lot of cleanup going on there, some repairs. The repairs were still kind of in that phase of this operation.
Some ceilings down and.
Well, they didn't tear them down, but
no, we
they
did.
had to be.
We had them torn down.
Yeah,
we had them torn down, and then
there's some other issues, apparently a structural issue. So we got a little more on our plate than we initially had expected to find here, and the fundraiser has gone up slightly as a result of some of that. But about a week and a half ago, I guess, about a week and a half, because I think it was not this past Sunday, but the previous one, I announced that I was going to, on behalf of the Shire Free Church, announce matching funds to help you raise what was originally $11,000 that you were targeting to raise to do this launch and to get everything taken care of, get the carpets, get the sign out front, get everything that you'd originally envisioned for this thing. And the fundraising had kind of stalled, as sometimes these things happen. Like, you get the initial blast out there, you get the initial response, the initial shares, and then it just sort of peters off. This has been my experience with doing some fundraising. And so I thought, one way to really kind of rekindle this fundraising flame would be to offer matching contributions, which you did not have in the beginning of the fundraiser. So you raised just over about $5,000 US, not including the Bitcoin, right? Not including the Bitcoin, or was including the Bitcoin?
No, not including the Bitcoin.
So you raised several $1,000s if you don't include the Bitcoin that you raised, because there was like one guy in Pakistan that gave like a whole Bitcoin. Thank goodness. But for the launchgood.com/Malik Center, which is where you can go to contribute to this, it was just over $5,000. We announced that we're going to do the matching contributions from the Shire Free Church, which is also contributing the property.
Actually, some of the that 5,000 from the Launch Good is other donations that came from other sources besides Launch Good, like local Muslims giving cash. There was an elderly lady who was going to give money to a mosque in Saudi Arabia.
There was a guy that showed up during the matching fundraiser with $1,000 cash, and he's not a Muslim.
Yeah, he just walked up and said, "Hey, a friend of mine told me to give you this donation. Here you go." And then just turned around and got back in his car and drove away.
and so that got matched. And when we started doing the matching contributions, I think we were at like 93, 94 contributors, meaning that was the total amount of people that had given over $5,000 thus far. We're now at over $7,763. And 129 people have given. So we've increased the number of contributors.
And how do people go to give?
Launchgood.com/Malik Center, MALICCENTER, Malik Center.
How about you put match.freetalklive.com and forward it to that?
I could. Yeah, I could do that.
I mean, because I can spell match. I can't spell Malik.
Malik can be tricky. That's a good idea. I'll make a note, Mark.
I'm no scholar, but I know that match includes a T.
So, anyway... I'll get to that. It'll probably have to be after the show. So if you're listening live, you can go to that later on. But anyway, what I was going to say is just by offering the matching contributions, we've increased the number of contributors by like 33%. And the actual number of contributions, we're almost to the goal now.
Yeah.
Like if you take the about $2,500 that's been raised, you double that, we're at just about, I think, 10,300 or so. So basically, if we can raise another $300-ish bucks over at launchgood.com/Malik Center, that'll be doubled. We'll hit the $11,000 goal. Now, you've expanded the goal to $15,000 based on some things that have changed in the plans. And so the fundraiser's going to continue. The matching ends at $11,000, but please don't let that stop you from contributing. I think this is a great vision. I think
we're also trying right now. as far as I know, as a Muslim house of worship, we've raised more in Bitcoin than any other Muslim house of worship in the world. There was another one in Europe that raised about 3,000 in Bitcoin a few years ago.
Which is 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They're probably doing pretty good considering how much Bitcoin was worth.
For real, right?
3 years ago.
But
you're the first in the U.S. to do anything like that, right?
We're the first in the U.S., and if we can get about a half a Bitcoin more in contributions, we'll actually be the first mosque in the world to open with half of our opening funds being cryptocurrencies. That's something that I would really like to be able to say about our house of worship, is that we're the first to
built on cryptocurrency.
Built on rejecting the money of the war machine,
right?
Of putting our money where our mouth is. And not only are we saying we should stop bombing Muslim countries, and I don't think I should have to contribute to it, we are actually actively attempting to not contribute to it by using cryptocurrencies and not using the banker's money.
The cryptocurrency links, not links, but the QR codes are up on the fundraiser page, so people that want to do crypto contributions can go to launchgood.com/Malik Center. As we go back to Tom in Baltimore. Now, Tom, you've been bringing up some objections, and I wanted to make sure that you and Will had time to talk about this. You brought up some objections.
I want to be considerate to the other callers, so let me just close with this. Please don't mistake.
I think Will wanted to address at least one of the things that you brought up. I mean, if you don't mind.
Real quick, I don't want to be mistaken for being fired up in terms of being antagonistic. I think it's great that you had Will on. I hope he's back on again, because these conversations.
He lives here now.
Really
He's going to be back.
But they can do nothing but help, and I hope we have more.
No, I agree, and that's why I think it's really great to have him here, which is why I said if Will had just come to me with this idea of opening a mosque, I would have been in favor of it as part of the Shire Free Church and our mission to foster peace. But it's much more than that. You're building an interfaith community center, and I think that's pretty cool. But Tom, trot out one of those misunderstandings, or what I consider to be large misunderstandings.
The verse that he's referring to, as far as like terrorize and cut the heads of the non-believers and all that kind of stuff, is from chapter 47, verse 4. But there were people who actually were at that it's discussing the Battle of Badr Well, which is a specific historic event in Islamic history. And someone who was actually at Badr Well, he has a statement recorded. His name is Arabi al-Anas, who's actually a particularly well-known Sahaba. It's a companion of Muhammad. And he says that, discussing this verse, says, in the aftermath of the Battle of Badr, the people were able to recognize whomever the angels had killed from among our enemy by the wounds on their necks, their fingers, and toes. So basically what happens is most people read the Quran in the way that they read the Bible. They pick a verse, and then they pick a verse, and then they pick a verse, and they cram it all together and go, look, the book is trying to tell you something. Instead of reading it like you read a book, where you start at the beginning of a chapter and you read it till the end of the chapter. Mm-hmm. The chapter specifically explains that verse, in the verse previous to it, is discussing angels. That angels came down from heaven to help the Muslims in their fight at Badr Well, and that the angels were commanded to fight in this specific way, to strike at the back of the neck, the hands, and the feet. And that you could always tell, according to the witnesses who were at the battle, those members of the invading army that were killed by the angels because they had the wounds that are discussed in the Quran, because God told angels to do that, not man. Does that make sense to you, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as we come up to the end of the show, it's definitely a start where we can start having maybe some better understanding among people who listen and have these questions. Yeah. And, let me just say this in closing. I really believe that there are governments and spiritual principalities that are pitting people against one another and blinding them from truth where they could actually get along and at the same time preserve their own religions and cultures.
Well, if you're interested in learning more, you can always listen to my show. I also have a show here on LRN on Sunday nights at 10 p.m. It's called The Cult of Freedom, and we regularly have big-name, well-known Muslim scholars from all over the world on the show to discuss issues, everything from the initiation of violence to how government should function or not function, to taxation and whether or not income taxes are permissible. And it's like, we cover tons of subject matter, and I'd love for you to listen in.
It'd be easier if you had a
Thank you, sir, I
podcast
will.
up over at MuslimsForLiberty.org, but you don't yet, and hopefully that'll be one of the steps that you'll get to after this whole mosque thing gets wrapped up. All right, thanks, Tom, for the call. We'll see you tomorrow night online. In the meantime, check out launchgood.com/Malik Center to contribute. See you tomorrow.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,254. Antiwar.com reports election officials in Iraqi Kurdistan have announced that they intend to hold both presidential and parliamentary votes for the region on November 1st, aiming to bolster the government after last week's referendum on secession from Iraq. Iraqi Kurdistan voted overwhelmingly in favor of secession with over 92% yes votes on heavy turnout. Iraqi officials have vowed to bring the Kurds back under their control and have been supported by Turkey and Iran in possible military actions against them. Iraq has already closed Kurdistan's airport and is in the process of seizing their border crossings. The Iraqi Central Bank announced new financial sanctions on Tuesday, including a full stop of all foreign currency transfers into Kurdish banks. As far as the elections go, President Barzani is a real question mark as Kurdish law restricts him from 2 terms in office, and he's already on his 3rd term, extending it because of the war against the Islamic State. Given the overwhelming support for secession, it's safe to say that's a winning issue virtually all major Kurdish politicians will be emphasizing. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports every single Yahoo email account, more than 3 billion of them, were affected by a data breach in 2013. The information was released by Verizon Communications, which bought Yahoo for $4.48 billion earlier this year. The disclosure comes less than a year after Yahoo announced that a data breach affected approximately 1 billion accounts. This time, however, the company is saying that every single Yahoo email address fell victim to the data breach, and the New York Times reported that hackers obtained contained names, birth dates, phone numbers, passwords, security questions, and backup email addresses used to reset passwords. But Oath, the Verizon Communications subsidiary that owns Yahoo, said in a statement that the hackers did not gain access to the user's financial information. The statement reads, "The investigation indicates that the user account information that was stolen did not include passwords in clear text, payment card data, or bank account information." In a separate statement, Yahoo said it did take steps to rectify the data breach after it occurred. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Supreme Court justices clashed on Tuesday over whether courts should curb the long-standing U.S. political practice of drawing electoral maps to entrench one party in power, with conservative Judge Anthony Kennedy likely to cast the deciding vote. The 9 justices heard an hour of arguments in the major voting rights case out of Wisconsin involving the practice known as partisan gerrymandering. Their ruling, due by June, could have an impact on U.S. elections for decades by setting standards for when electoral districts are laid out with such extreme partisan aim that they deprive voters of their constitutional rights. Kennedy, who sometimes sides with the court's liberal justices in big rulings, did not definitively tip his hand on how he would rule, but posed tough questions to Wisconsin lawyers that signaled his aversion to the electoral districts drawn to give one party a lopsided advantage in elections. Gerrymandering, a practice that began 2 centuries ago, involves manipulating boundaries of legislative districts to benefit one party and diminish another. Democratic and Republican critics argue that gerrymandering is becoming more extreme because it can now be guided by precise voter data and map-making technology, distorting the democratic process by letting politicians choose their voters rather than the other way around. Kennedy pressed Aaron Murphy, a lawyer for Wisconsin State Senate, on whether it would be unconstitutional for a state law to contain explicit provisions favoring one party over another. Murphy conceded it would be. A federal 3-judge panel ruled 2-1 last November that Wisconsin's redistricting plan violated the Constitution's First Amendment right to freedom of expression and association and the 14th Amendment guarantee of equal protection under the law because of the extent to which it marginalized Democratic voters. Wisconsin appealed the ruling to the Supreme Court. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
5-Hour Energy CEO Manoj Bhargava claimed this week that the 13 deaths associated with his product were just collateral damage in his company's ongoing war against that 230 feeling. Quote, "We honor the sacrifice of all those who have fallen. I wish we could live in a world where you could get a spike of energy and no crash and not die. But that's not the world we live in." Passionate supporters have flooded social media, demonstrating the terrifying costs of midday drowsiness and fatigue, with consumers saying that when it comes to extra alertness in the mid-afternoon, they are willing to pay any price.
As the wife of a 5-hour energy drinker, we've had to sacrifice a lot in the name of long-lasting bursts of energy that carry you out of the workday and into the evening. We knew the risks going in.
Bhargava says his company has no plans to stop until the 230 feeling is completely wiped off the map, at which point they will turn their attention to that 330 feeling, 430 feeling, and people with a case of the Mondays.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear here and declare your independence. Me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEAUtiful studios of Freedom's with an Ass, Phoenix, home. Well, I'm still getting over being sick, but I'm getting better. All right. We've got James Corbett on the first hour. We're going to get right to it. Then we have Nicholas Guillermo, REPAC, Representative Initiatives, Political Action Committees. I met him up at Nexus Earth, and he wants to have something to say about how we can do direct democracy, and we'll see how that works out. Then we got Philip Giraldi. Philip Giraldi, for a couple of segments, he wrote an article on American Jews are doing all the wars. You know, the Jews did it, and they're going to do it. You know, well, it was American conservative, I think, with Pat Buchanan, when they first started off, he goes, whose wars are these anyway? And he got in trouble for, you know, kind of making, you know, the Israel thing. Well, Philip Giraldi wrote this article, and your services are no longer required. Now, he's an ex-CIA guy and got some street cred way back. And no, man, let me tell you what's going on. We don't want you to tell us what's going on, man. You're fired. All right, so we'll be talking to Phil Giraldi. That's going to be interesting. So we've had him on, you know, long ago, and he's, you know, it's a third rail Israel. Well, you know, I'm sure James would be interested in that. You know, this is James Corbett. I tell you where he was missed. He was missed at Nexus Earth Conference. That was definitely a James Corbett thing. They have another one. I will make sure I'd be pushing for James to go. I think you should have gone, James. What do you think?
I think I was invited, but I was already in Copenhagen around that time. So. Slacktivist. You know, I tell you, you know, you were missed. I felt it was like James was, you know, on everybody's shoulder the whole time, you know, that you just feel the vibe. So it was, you know, we'll get to talk about it a little bit. But, all right, one thing that I want to just get your impression real quick. This Las Vegas shooting thing, in fact, in Vegas is where Vince Suprenowitz came from, where I learned a lot about journalism from. He's an editor at the Las Vegas Review-Journal there, and an author and a good libertarian and a friend. And he's the one that always said 3 weeks. Man, you got to wait 3 weeks. 3 weeks, this kind of stuff happens. If you don't have somebody standing there with an iPhone, even then you got to wonder. But he goes, you want to know what's going on? Yeah, they got the 24 to 72-hour news cycle of how long can we drag this out and we don't let a good crisis go to waste. And then 3 weeks later, you start finding out what's really going on. And the conspiracy stuff has already started. But I tell you, when something like this happens, the first thing I want to do, James, is I go, check your six, man. I mean, there's something else going on that we're distracted from. And there's a lot of stuff going on. We got Catalonia declaring independence from Spain. We got, Venezuela going on, and we got to go, have another war. We're pissed off at, Syrians and Russians, not having full sledge, whatever the heck, and China's doing. I mean, I go, Mr. James Corbett, whatever you want to say about Vegas, but I mean, what else is going on? We need to check our six while they're distracting us. It's true, but to be fair, there is no possible situation or story that could ever take place that you couldn't say, what is this distracting us from? So, I don't know. I mean, I guess, yeah, absolutely. But this is clearly first and foremost on the minds of Americans, at least today, and understandably so. I'm not getting into this rabbit hole at this particular time because there are, basically everyone else in the alt media that I follow is already all over it. So good for them. But I guess what I want to say about this is ultimately, lots of very suspicious things about this. Another of these acts blamed on a lone wolf who killed himself, and blah, blah, blah. We know how that works. And that's the story and they're sticking to it. However, ridiculously implausible as it is. But at the end of the day, what you said is the key quote. Never let a good crisis go to waste. The crisis can be real. The crisis can be generated. The result is the same. So what is the result of this? I think that's where the real firepower of the alt media should be directed, to use a horrible analogy, I suppose, in this case. But because... okay, great. Examine all the ballistics and all of that, sure. But the ultimate result of this is going to be, as we've already seen, they're starting to talk about, now we need metal detectors and backscanner devices and all of this in the hotels. Be afeared.
Exactly. And who
Who profits from that? I mean, it's already people are starting to dredge this up, Chertoff and OSI, and the same people who were behind the underwear bombing 7 years ago now, Christmas Day 2009, with Abdul Muttalib, who couldn't light his underwear on fire properly, and that was the part of the rollout of the backscatter devices. If people remember that, people probably don't remember that anymore. Why do we have to do this? Oh, it's security. But that was the thing, the underwear bombing thing, and this will be the thing for the rollout of new security at the casinos and the hotels and all the other service industry, and this is the start of that slope. So again, whether it's real or staged, the result is going to be the same, and I think it's more important to be directing our attention towards confronting that agenda, which we know is taking place, which we know is going into place, which we know there are people with specific monetary interests, millions and millions and millions of dollars to be made from this. Of course, they're going to be pumping this as the solution to this problem, real or generated.
I remember, Donna, it was your 20th high school reunion. Remember we went back to that? That was, what were you, 80? You graduated? So it was 2000 that we went back, and we happened to be sitting at a table, one of her friends, her boyfriend or husband or something, just, chatting us up, and, this is what I do and why I'm important and whatever, was the backscatter, they call it tunneling flashlight is what they were calling it. And they were testing it at Fort Huachuca down here, which is a high spy thing in southern Arizona. And he was telling me all about this thing. He's going, yes, we can look through metal, see people inside, all this kind of stuff. And I'm going, okay, well, I can see, for what? I mean, is this law enforcement, military? It's for a company. He was one of those guys that, represented the company to the government. He's a salesman lobbyist or whatever the hell they are. Yeah. And he was going on. I'm just saying, oh, tell me more. Well, he didn't know who he was talking to. Well, as soon as we got done, we got home, I called, and it was like late at night. It's like, back here in Phoenix, it's probably like 10 or something like that. But I called some friends activists that lived in Tucson that were activists doing different. I told them all about it. I said, look, it's this. Boom. They got it in the press. They covered it, and then one of our representative congressmen here, you would never, violate the people's BS. And then every time I saw something that would happen, it would be to promote the purchase of this device. They create it, and then they create a market for it. And if they have to, just to make, a few $100 million, $1 billion here, there's not a good enough reason for them to lie or do anything. We're saturated with this. It's fear economics. I'm just, and this is, I got a lot. I tell you, my first impression, they keep showing all these ARs and how tricked out and this nasty gun, and look, and he bought and a bipod and kind of and I'm going, I know what these different guns sound like because I have them. That was AK-47 rounds, it seemed like. It was on full auto, and it was more than one of them. I mean, and you have video of guys, they're on the fourth floor, and then they're up here. There was something, whatever they're saying this is, it's not. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. We'll wait 3 weeks, and then we'll know. James Corbett will do a video about it, I am sure. So we're going to be done with Vegas because there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Check our 6.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Okay. It's going to be a few weeks from now. It's going to be, Donna, give me the date. It was Sunday this last. What's 3 Sundays from then? 3 weeks. What's the date? Be about 10th? No, it's not 10th. What is it now? It's only the 3rd. No, it's going to be, anyway, 3 Sundays from now. We'll figure it out. Yeah, going forward. Because after 3, let me know when you got it. When the 3 weeks is done, that's when we just take and accumulate a lot of stuff and do a James Corbett thing. I suspect that James might get around to this one of these days. But there's other stories going on, a lot of stuff that I thought that James is, we got the BRICS, going on. We had, there's a Bitcoin kind of thing going. I can feel the Bitcoin's going to be government coin dot whatever the hell, and it's going to shoot to the moon, but it's going to be the enslavement tool of. And then we have big oil, and one thing you find you did Edward Bernays. So I would definitely want to talk about that. The 22nd. So we go the 22nd in October. After that, it'll be about in the 20s of October. We'll do the big show on the Vegas thing. And we'll wait until let them all do it. But I can feel it, even on the news breaks and so on. Oh, yeah, and he had this. You're just repeating what they... Look, we got pictures from the room. Of course you do. You got video. Hell, I don't believe any damn thing. it's all being manufactured. Oh, just released. You mean just manufactured? I'm going. That's why we spend a lot of time on the tech. You can do all kinds. You can't even believe what you see now. So I'm just no. I like guys calling. They go, look, I know this guy. This is all bullshit. You know, he could just, hey man, knock, knock, knock. They kick him in the chest, knock him down, throw some stuff, and they start blazing away. I mean, you don't know what's going on. They're just making this stuff up as they go along. 3 weeks. So, Bernays, help me out, James. Give me some Bernays.
You know Edward Bernays, right?
I know. I've seen the BBC special. What was it? That
Century of Enslavement.
Century of the Self.
Not Century of the Self. Yeah, Century of Enslavement is my documentary. All right, I got it confused.
Century of the Self. I highly recommend it. You go on YouTube. You look for Century of the Self. It's a 4-part, 4-hour BBC documentary on Edward Bernays and how much he screwed us up.
Yeah. I recommend part 1, Happiness Machines, which is mostly about Edward Bernays, and that's a good one. I think it gets progressively kind of worse from there, but that was actually one of the first documentaries I saw in my waking up process, whatever you want to call that, and it really affected me. It had so many of the little nuggets in Bernays' incredible career. So for people who have no idea who this is, a century ago or so, there was a man going around who was the king of propaganda, really, PR, the invention of the PR industry. He was right there at its creation and inception.
The invention of the word.
Well, not quite. That's usually attributed to Ivy Lee working for the Rockefellers in the wake of the...
I always thought public relations was a Bernays thing. But anyway, he definitely...
Anyway, he was around. Yeah, they were all chummy, I'm sure. So, Bernays literally wrote a book called Propaganda from 1928, which is worth a read. To this day, it's worth a read because it shows a lot of how these tricks are played using the media and other tricks of the trade. So he is the man who is the reason that you eat bacon and eggs in the morning for breakfast. Why do you eat bacon and eggs together? What is it about bacon and eggs? Why is that a combination? Has that always been something people ate? No.
4 out of 5 dentists say.
Exactly right. So for people who don't know the story, Bernays was contracted by the Beechnut Packing Company to increase their sales of bacon. And so he went through the process of deciding, okay, well, we'll market it as a breakfast thing. And how will we do that? Oh, we'll go to approach a doctor and we'll say, well, was it better to eat a light breakfast in the morning or a hearty breakfast? And the doctor will say, oh, it's better to eat a hearty breakfast. And they'll say, well, you mean like hearty breakfast, like, I don't know, bacon and eggs? And the doctor will say, yeah, that's a hearty breakfast. And then they get the doctor to write they'll pay the fees and everything, the postage and everything, but just write a letter and we'll send it out to 5,000 other doctors around the country saying, do you agree with my assessment? And so, of course, all the doctors agree, yeah, hearty breakfast, sure. And so they run with the ads, oh, bacon and eggs, 5,000 doctors recommend bacon and eggs for your health, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly bacon sales for the Beechnut Packing Company go through the roof. And Edward Bernays gets a personal letter from the president of the company thanking him for his service. That's obviously, that on the big picture of things that I talk about at the corporate report, that's not the most important, but that's a good insight into how this works. So the other things that Bernays was responsible for in his illustrious career included such things as breaking the taboo on women smoking. How was that done? That was done as part of a propaganda campaign that Edward Bernays ran. He helped introduce, to pave the way for fluoridation of the water supply, because that was an industrial waste product that he was contracted to come. How can we take care of this? Let's put it in the water and say it's for your health. He was part of the Arbenz, the Operation PB Success. Was that? No, was the Iranian one? I'm going to forget the name of the operation. Anyway, the CIA operation to overthrow Arbenz in Guatemala. He was prepping the way in the American media to get the Americans up in arms and, oh, we hate the Guatemala, we hate Arbenz, we want him overthrown. He was contracted by the U.S. government to run that propaganda campaign. So he did a lot of these things. And the thing was, the reason he was so good at it was because he realized giving information to people is not about giving them information, data, facts, numbers, figures, dates. People don't care about that. People care about emotions. People care about triggers. People care about things that affect them psychologically. So he would get psychoanalysts to examine a question and figure out what's the best way to approach this so that we can get inside people's heads. And there's a reason for that. It's because Edward Bernays was the American nephew of a man that you might have heard of, Sigmund Freud. And the reason you've heard of Sigmund Freud, most likely, is because Edward Bernays popularized him in America. Anyway, so it's a crazy story. The more you look into it, the more he had his fingers in so many different pies.
Well, he had a lot of support from industry and government. They were, is this how you rule people? Well, hell, all you got to do is give us a manual.
Exactly. I mean, it's a parasitic relationship. It's a symbiotic relationship at any rate. And absolutely, I mean, the propagandists work in the service of the industries and the governments that employ them. And he was a master at it. He was incredibly good at what he did. Can you imagine if that was done for good instead of bad? Or is there a good way to wield power like that? Or can we not wield power like that? I mean, we're always trying to convince people of things. Are we all just trying to manipulate others into doing what we want or thinking
America, stand for that flag, bitches! I mean, it's got, this is it's the same thing. It's all this groupthink of you got to have a Chevrolet apple pie and salute.
Yes. And that's why it's so important to go back to people like Bernays, because we can look back and we can see, the Easter Day Parade 1929, getting the suffragettes to take out their freedom torches and light them up. Yeah. And it was supposed to be this symbolic gesture. No, it's about getting you to smoke, and it's about getting women to smoke. It's just it's a ploy. It's a propaganda campaign.
Yeah, it was uncool for women to smoke, and they said, we got 50% of a possible market here. What the hell? So he gets all these socialites that go in this parade and has the media ready, and he's got the photo stage op kind of ready. All right, and go. And they take out their cigarettes, and it was a phallic symbol of penis and power, and it's a Liberty torches of now Virginia Slims, and the women start smoking, and they make a bunch of money. It's all about the money. Money, 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 control and power. More James Corbett, the Corbett Report. When we come back, much more goodies, bunch more goodies.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.lrn.fm. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network when you shop at Amazon via shop.lrn.fm.
Do you know the difference between erudite and pedantic? If you do, you're probably pedantic. But seriously, a surprising number of erudite people mispronounce erudite, which has 3 syllables, not 4. Say erudite, not erudite. Because you are judged by how you speak, you want to avoid common misstatements, especially if you're a job seeker. For instance, do you know the difference between imply and infer? Only a speaker can imply, only a listener can infer. And when you say you'll be out of pocket, do you mean out of touch? Out of pocket means you're on your own dime, not yet reimbursed. And if anyone ever asks, why do you always answer a question with a question? You should reply, do I do that? Just kidding. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Join Daryl W. Perry on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio as he brings you news, views, and opinions while promoting the ideas of peaceful interaction.
My personal position on the death penalty is this. We know for a fact that there have been hundreds of people who have been wrongly convicted for various offenses. People who were wrongly convicted of murder and who were sentenced to death, who have later been exonerated. And from that, we can deduce that there have been innocent people who were executed for crimes they did not commit. And the fact that I do consider myself to be consistently pro-life, I don't support using taxpayer funds to kill any human at all, anywhere. Using any money that is taken by force and then used to murder people is wrong.
Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock. To be a part of the show, call 602-264-2800.
Honey and lemon helps your throat. Okay. James Corbett, he just went to an event in Open Thy Mind event in Copenhagen. He's going to tell us all about that. And his presentation was on Chinese. Well, go ahead and tell us about your trip and the event and get right to your presentation, will you, James?
I sure will. I was invited out to Copenhagen, Denmark, to present at the Open Mind Conference, openmindconference.com. And this was not my first invitation. In fact, I think they've been trying to invite me there for 3 years. So I finally gave in and said yes, and flew halfway around the world for 4 days. It was quite the trip, but it was actually a good trip. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the conference, and I think the presentation went well, and I think it hit its mark. So basically, the presentation was about... Well, it was titled Echoes of World War I, the U.S., China, the U.S., and the Next Great War. And the thesis is that the situation in pre-World War I, the world as it stood pre-World War I, looks an awful lot like the situation in pre-World War III, ? And I'm not the only one to think of this idea by any means. In fact, I've noticed specifically in the last few months, this idea has been getting a lot of traction. Specifically around a book that was published by a historian called Graham Allison. The book was called Destined for War. And the idea is that this is not just a kind of, wow, look at the coincidences pre-World War I and the time we're living in, but it's actually part of something that has been identified by historians called the Thucydides trap. Thucydides, the Greek historian who wrote the history of the Peloponnesian War.
Thucydides is T-H-U?
No, you're going to put me on the spot. Thucydides.
Okay, I just want to kind of give
question mark. Thucydides.
A search engine possibilities, they'll find it. Okay, so yeah. Thucydides. All right, got it.
Yeah, and he one of his theses was that when you have a rising power confronting a ruling power, he said it inevitably leads to war. And so people have noted this, and this historian, Graham Allison, has broken down, I think, 16 different cases in the past 500 years where this has happened, and it's led to war in 12 of them, one of them being World War I. And I certainly see the parallels with World War I, specifically looking at the rise of Germany, confronting the ruling power of Britain. Well, we have the rising China, confronting the ruling power of Pax Americana. I think there are a lot of parallels. So I went through a lot of the parallels in that talk and talked about them. With the caveat that the underlying point is that World War I was an engineered event. It didn't just happen. It wasn't just some, suddenly we're at war. As people are generally taught, if they're taught anything about World War I at school, it's like there's an assassination, Archduke Ferdinand, suddenly everyone's at war. And that's about the level of analysis that I got when I went to school. No, it was the result of carefully planned and deliberated negotiations and treaties that had been formed with the express intention of creating a pincher movement around Germany, because Britain was trying to contain this rising power, all of this. There were machinations going on for decades before.
Yeah, they were just waiting for an opportunity they didn't want to let go to waste.
That's exactly the point. So, and I think similarly we see the World War III scenario with the U.S. and China being engineered. And I see that in a number of different ways. One of which is that the fact that China is a rising economic power itself was an engineered event. I mean, that could not have taken place without the business and financial links, the industrial links that have been formed over the past 4 decades via, obviously spearheaded by people like Kissinger, people like Brzezinski, who renormalized relations, and then, the capitalist Reuters group behind Deng Xiaoping and all of that. There's real history there about how China became the economic juggernaut. Again, it wasn't just some switch was flipped and suddenly it's this industrial manufacturing base. No, it was a process that was put in place over decades to make China into the rising power of the 21st century, and now they're setting up the pieces to make it a conflict of some sort. And the question is, are they going to go for the World War III event? Or, I mean, there's so many different questions, one of which is, what would that look like? The only thing I know for certain is it would not look anything like World War I or World War II. It may not be military at all. It may be economic warfare, cyber warfare, space warfare. I don't know. I mean, there's a million different things that could happen in that event, but it wouldn't look like World War I or World War II.
Morgan Freeman did a commercial. We're at war now, cyber.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the Russian stuff, right?
War. Morgan Freeman said,
yeah, it's interesting. The Russian narrative has seemed to overtake the Chinese narrative in the last couple of years. But I still think the long-term 21st century kind of conflict is the one that they're shaping up with China. And there's still certainly a lot of critters in the Trump swamp who are more than happy, itching for a fight. In fact, actually, just in the last week or two, you had Kissinger coming out and saying, look, we don't want to go to war with China, so we're going to have to cooperate more with them in this Belt and Road policy that they're doing, this globalization 2.0, as China itself calls it. And then guess who's on board with Kissinger? Bannon. Bannon and Kissinger are now plotting, meeting and talking about joining forces in trying to get the Trump administration moving on China.
Yeah, I saw.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. I saw that, man. It's it's amazing what penetrates when you're not paying attention. But Morgan Freeman is pretty good on a lot of stuff. He's like, quit your whining and pick yourself up and get to work kind of thing. And all of a sudden, Rob Reiner, which was Meathead on All in the Family and did Princess Bride as a producer director or whatever, and he's well known, certainly our generation, but. He was on a show. I can't remember which one it was. But his whole thing was, he produced this Morgan Freeman. He was kind of behind this whole thing. We got a problem. And it seems like it's really just an anti-Trump thing. It's we're going to go get some on Russia. Well, this takes time. By the time they get to market on this, it's already kind of, maybe that's not all it was cracked up to be. While you got Bannon and Kissinger banding together to go, we're going to take on China. And I'm going, all right, what are we taking on? Why China? Why do we care? Why aren't we not just letting them, whatever? They're in freaking China, man. It's all a bunch of Asia stuff. Where's the U.S. interest in going after China? It's to have more war to sell stuff?
You just fell into the trap. Why do you think this is about U.S. interest? If anything... again, this is speculative, but if anything, I would imagine that whatever form this conflict takes, military or otherwise, I don't think America's intended to win it. I think America's intended to lose it. And that's the direction that the American elite, the ruling oligarchs, they aren't American. They don't care about the United States whatsoever.
They just want to destroy the middle class. They want the opposition to their planetary as just a bunch of people that can feed themselves and have a nice
They want to get rid of the... I mean, you can't have a one world order with America still being the unitary superpower. It has to be knocked down a peg or two from where it is now.
Yeah, see, it's not government. That's one thing I want to make clear, and hopefully what you're saying, it's not the United States government. That's just a bunch of tanks and stuff. It's the middle class. It's the people. We are very powerful if you look on the planet, You know, you could take the militia of, freaking Missouri, and the economy of, Arkansas and the, infrastructure of Kansas. I mean, and we kick the shit out of a lot of people. It's the people here. It's our economic wealth, our retirement, our pensions, which they're coming after. This is one thing. They are going to just, all this wealth that Americans think they have, be gone in a flip of a switch. You watch. It's going to be Monday morning sometime, and it's all gone. If you don't have it in, hard assets or crypto or knowledge or something, whatever you think you got, it's gone.
That's it. And that's going to be a key part of all of this, is going to be the changeover in monetary paradigm, which was one of the things that happened in World War I, the abandoning of the gold standard. I think there's going to be a similar major monetary event in the midst of whatever conflict we see coming up with China.
Yeah, this is the only thing that I say to try and sound smart, because it's clairvoyance. I'm going, look, man, all this stuff is going to be the dollar. It's going to be the dollar. You watch what happens. Your bank account, doesn't matter what it says. It is gone.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown. But these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown. Not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road underground market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The Empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Freedom is the answer. What's the question?
I want to break free.
You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
I want to break free.
Lies, uncovering secrets, exposing the lies. I love saying that. This is, I tell you what the big secret is, and I'm really interested in, James got a story to share with us on this, but, this is the thing. Going to the Nexus Earth Conference, we're at the beginning of the development of this crypto, and it's, a large, idea of, a bunch of stuff, but bottom line is this. You have developers, these core developers that are able to, it's programmable money. The Crown wants to make it weaponized money, but I mean, here it comes. Well, the programmable money, what do you program it to? Now, I vote freedom, power of the individual, decentralization. Why would they do that? They're 23-year-old, if I don't know any better, kind of, maybe whatever, somebody inspire and keep me and why I should. These guys promised me gazillions of dollars and, green fees and hookers for the rest of my life, if I do this and add this code in the back of the whatever, and who are you, So the whole thing about the second letter of Captain Mark on PiratesWithoutBorders.com was to set a standard for cryptos and I'm tired of all the promises. It's going to be anonymous. It's not so anonymous. It's going to be secure. That's been kind of holding up and uncensorable, but that just means that the signal keeps flowing and how much are they surveilling of it? No, we want to keep going. We want to know where everybody's putting all their stuff, building evidence. Then it's like low transaction fees. Well, that kind of went out the window. Speed of confirming. Well, that's not so much anymore. So I'm going, wait. All these promises that you made me, no, it ain't pirate money. I need some pirate money. Who's going to make the pirate money? What do you want to do? Buy bubble gum with it? Damn skippy I do. So this is what, if you can get to these guys early on and why this is so important, that just the mood of an entire planet, of a kid in the Congo that has, $3 a year to philanthropically give to support whatever philosophy he has, and he wants to give a nickel to this one and a dime and a penny and a quarter. And you can't do that because it costs $1 for a freaking transaction. But if that gets down to like nothing like it used to be, fractions of a penny to send $1 million, then all of a sudden individuals with $3 can change the world with crowdsourced funding of just philosophy. When you got billions of people in their nickels. Heck, that's how they used to raise money at the school children to, finish the Washington Monument or some crap here in the U.S. That's where UNICEF came from. We're going to get all the little children to give us their pennies. And I'm going, yeah. Well, what if I can go push a button and I push my flag? I go, this is an essential part of a new money. It has to be internet money, cryptocurrency that is done at low transaction fee of near nothing so that you can express your vote with money. And everybody gets to have a say. So that was one of the, the rhetoric I was using. So when they start to, do the coding, they're going, yeah, okay, yeah, I can see, because they didn't see. These young kids, they just don't see the power of freedom of the money. So you get in at an early time. We had a lot of impact on that. That's the role that I like to play. One less thing I got to do. I just got to make sure they understand why. James, where does that ring true with you, man?
Well, that rings true on every level with me, and I'm so glad that you've pointed this out, and especially in that way, because I think the pirate meme is a great idea for hitting a sort of cultural zeitgeist right now and appealing to the younger crowd. But it's so important to do so because exactly as you point out, these are the people who are dealing with this tool. It is a tool, and this tool can either be the pirate money, it can be pirate money, or it can be FedCoin 2.0, you know, and it's heading gradually towards the
Oh, no, they're
FedCoin
going to get
2.0,
one. I
isn't it?
guarantee it's probably going to be called Bitcoin.
Yeah, they're already working on it. They, you know, they're studying the blockchain. They're going to make their little private central bank cryptocurrency. The BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, just put out a white paper on central bank cryptocurrency.
I just saw on Monday Night Football or whatever, they were advertising IBM, blockchain technology of Internet of Everything. They're all blockchain. You're hearing blockchain on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. So this was part of an op-ed I just recently wrote about the Bitcoin PSYOP. The fact that the general public's conversation about these issues is so far removed from what the people who are in this space are actually doing that the gulf is so wide that the conversation out in the general world is just stuck on stupid. It's cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and every other type of virtual and digital currency and private blockchain and public blockchain, and all of these things are just lumped together as if it's just one thing, and it's just, you know, it's the mark of the beast basically, and there's just no other way around it. So I was trying to get beyond that and at least to introduce people to the fact that these are separate things and these are tools that can be used this way or that way, and they're definitely going to try to use them for the evil. So maybe we should be trying to figure out if we can use it for the good, right? The pirate money. So you've hit on such an important thing, and it is so important what you're saying that we have to. The people out here who maybe can't do the coding themselves, like I'm not a coder, I don't do this stuff, but I can speak to those people and I can encourage them. I can give them a reason why they should be working on the pirate money. And that is so important because have you heard of the YouTube alternative, BitChute.com?
BitChute?
BitChute.com.
No,
BitChute.com.
Tell me.
You should go there. Everyone who's getting censored off YouTube ends up on BitChute one way or another, basically, because it is happening. The YouTube crackdown is happening, as I'm sure everyone knows by this point. Not just the demonetization, but now people actively getting censored. Syrian girl just got a video taken down because she was calling out the Kurdish referendum for being fake and staged. Got the video taken down for hate speech violations. Well, it's up on BitChute.com.
CHUTE, right?
Yes, that's right. And it runs on WebTorrent technology, so it's peer-to-peer. It's incredible. It's great. And the reason it exists...
it can't be deleted or done, and I got my catapult videos in the cactuses here, or what?
Yeah, well, when it gets set up, and I think it's still in an early beta-ish phase at the moment, running, I think, on the single server. But once it gets set up, so it's literally torrenting and sharing with everyone who's watching, it's uncensorable. It is torrent technology.
All right,
so
explain that real quick.
For people who don't know, when you're downloading this the file from whoever else is watching it at the time, you're also seeding it out to other people who are watching it. And usually you need a torrent client in order to do this, a special program and whatever, and it's too much for anyone to think about. But this is WebTorrent. It's literally happening in your browser. You don't do anything. You don't install anything. You just click on a video and you watch the video. It's exactly the same function as YouTube, except it's happening peer-to-peer behind the scenes. So it's incredible. It's a wonderful
they can't
innovation.
censor it. They can't stop it. They can't. So who owns my channel? Does Well, it's up, and BitChute can't delete it?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, because the login is going to be, up to BitChute.com. But the point is that peer-to-peer technology is here and can be done. But we're missing the point. The point is BitChute.com exists. BitChute.com exists because, according to the creator, Ray Vahi, who I've talked to, because he heard The Corbett Report, and he heard Media Monarchy, and he heard people like this explaining why we need this. And for years now, talking about Google and YouTube, and this is a bad idea, and we need an alternative. Well, he knew how to do this. He knew how to put it together.
I just needed Jay to tell me what I needed to do. I'm all over it.
And that's incredible to me, that I could have had that effect on someone who can do something about this. That's what this is about. I'm sharing this, and I'm ringing the alarm, and people are listening, and people are doing it. So this is what it's about. And there should not just be one or two people doing that. There should be thousands of people.
No.
in every walk of life.
This is the influence that I hope to have is exactly what you're talking about for decades. This is what you get at the nugget, at the core, at the base, at the why. Nobody ever asks why. I'm going, this is why we need, Watch My Bit. This is why we need cryptocurrencies that have low transactions. This is why. Now, BitChute, is there any purchasing or paying for it or clicking or any? It's just boom.
No.
So the marketing, their function, you have to pay to have an account. So where there's the monetization of this?
No, they're working on some sort of way to monetize your videos if you want to opt into that. And I don't think it's going to be advertising based, but I'm not sure what they're working on. At any rate, I won't be monetizing my videos, but they're working on some way of doing that.
Yeah, the Watch My Bit thing was a QR code came up, and you got like a minute sample, and if you wanted to watch it, you just went blip, and it back when transaction fees were nothing,
Back when Bitcoin could be used for that, yeah.
Yeah, and just these guys. I'm going, no, you guys are missing the whole aspect of this, the transaction fee thing. Yeah, but we and the miners want. Now you're confusing me. Somebody that cares, This is not the promise you guys made. All right, BitChute. CHUTE. All right, it looks like a lot of people are going over there. Very cool, very cool, very cool. Yeah, I'm still, when it gets to the point to where not that I'd be watching it, but when there's the catapults of kittens into Soros and they can't take it down, because the internet is cats, man. There will be a universal galactic war over getting the cat abuse videos down. Then you're free.
Yep.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Stay tuned for more Declare Your Independence next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,254. Antiwar.com reports election officials in Iraqi Kurdistan have announced that they intend to hold both presidential and parliamentary votes for the region on November 1st, aiming to bolster the government after last week's referendum on secession from Iraq. Iraqi Kurdistan voted overwhelmingly in favor of secession with over 92% yes votes on heavy turnout. Iraqi officials have vowed to bring the Kurds back under their control and have been supported by Turkey and Iran in possible military actions against them. Iraq has already closed Kurdistan's airport reports and is in the process of seizing their border crossings. The Iraqi Central Bank announced new financial sanctions on Tuesday, including a full stop of all foreign currency transfers into Kurdish banks. As far as the elections go, President Barzani is a real question mark as Kurdish law restricts him from 2 terms in office, and he's already on his 3rd term, extending it because of the war against the Islamic State. Given the overwhelming support for secession, it's safe to say that's a winning issue virtually all major Kurdish politicians will be emphasizing. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports every single Yahoo email account, more than 3 billion of them, were affected by a data breach in 2013. The information was released by Verizon Communications, which bought Yahoo for $4.48 billion earlier this year. The disclosure comes less than a year after Yahoo announced that a data breach affected approximately 1 billion accounts. This time, however, the company is saying that every single Yahoo email address fell victim to the data breach, and the New York Times reported that hackers obtained names, birth dates, phone numbers, passwords, security questions, and backup email addresses used to reset passwords. But Oath, the Verizon Communications subsidiary that owns Yahoo, said in a statement that the hackers did not gain access to the user's financial information. The statement reads, "The investigation indicates that the user account information that was stolen did not include passwords in clear text, payment card data, or bank account information." In a separate statement, Yahoo said it did take steps to rectify the data breach after it occurred. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Supreme Court justices clashed on Tuesday over whether courts should curb the long-standing U.S. political practice of drawing electoral maps to entrench one party in power, with conservative Judge Anthony Kennedy likely to cast the deciding vote. The 9 justices heard an hour of arguments in the major voting rights case out of Wisconsin involving the practice known as partisan gerrymandering. Their ruling, due by June, could have an impact on U.S. elections for decades by setting standards for when electoral districts are laid out with such extreme partisan aim that they deprive voters of their constitutional rights. Kennedy, who sometimes sides with the court's liberal justices in big rulings, did not definitively tip his hand on how he would rule, but posed tough questions to Wisconsin lawyers that signaled his aversion to the electoral districts drawn to give one party a lopsided advantage in elections. Gerrymandering, a practice that began 2 centuries ago, involves manipulating boundaries of legislative districts to benefit one party and diminish another. Democratic and Republican critics argue that gerrymandering is becoming more extreme because it can now be guided by precise voter data and map-making technology, distorting the democratic process by letting politicians choose their voters rather than the other way around. Kennedy pressed Aaron Murphy, a lawyer for Wisconsin State Senate, on whether it would be unconstitutional for a state law to contain explicit provisions favoring one party over another. Murphy conceded it would be. A federal 3-judge panel ruled 2-1 last November that Wisconsin's redistricting plan violated the Constitution's First Amendment right to freedom of expression and association and the 14th Amendment guarantee of equal protection under the law because of the extent to which it marginalized Democratic voters. Wisconsin appealed the ruling to the Supreme Court. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
NASA announced the discovery of a mile-wide asteroid this week that could potentially trigger a global level of extinction, forcing upscale fashion retailer Nordstrom out of business. Researchers confirm that the celestial object is traveling at speeds exceeding 29,000 miles per hour, threatening to slam into the planet with more than 1 million